Welcome to your Thursday morning on a beautiful Thursday in Music City. We are Ramon, Kayla, and Will, and we're powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. When trust matters, count on All Four Seasons Garage Doors in Nashville. Professional garage door installation and repair from a locally owned and family-run business. Visit allfourseasonsgarages.com/Nashville. We've got betting odd movement on the DeAndre Hopkins sweepstakes. We've got Coach Dave McGinnis, Andy Staples with a new home where he covers college football. And we have got a fantastic RKW draft with a very special guest. We're drafting sports villains with our villain of 104.5 The Zone. His name is Buck Rising. There's Ramon Foster. That's Kayla Anderson. Behind the glass, playing the hits, Robert Walsh. My name is Will Bowling. It is July the 13th, a beautiful Thursday. How are we feeling, everybody?
It's actually sticky.
Yeah, it's definitely.
It's sticky out there.
It's going to be that type of day today. I probably will be inside today. That's just where I'm
I don't know where I'll be. I mean, it's just, I woke up and I was expecting a little bit cooler temperatures. You know, we've had those 60s. And I was like, what the heck is this?
It's not great.
It's sticky.
You said we've had them 60s. You are 100% correct. We got bamboozled, okay? But we knew this was coming.
I know. Well, because it's camp's
up.
coming up.
Yep.
And we were all excited because we were like, maybe camp's going to be a little cooler this year. Nope.
And today's the first 90 we've had in a little while, too.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah.
It was 90 yesterday.
It was
it?
90?
Yeah. I was sitting at the NSC game, and it was 92 last night.
Nice.
Ooh,
At like 8:30
goodness.
at night. Yeah, it was one of those nights where it was like humid until that game was over last night. Like, it was terrible.
Yeah. God, dog. It's that time of the year. I didn't realize. I was expecting it to be hot around May, June. June was iffy, but it's definitely July, August.
Yeah.
I think that's where I need to set my mind at. It's like, stop bragging about what's happening in May with the weather. Like, it's not supposed to be that hot in May. It is July and August where the devil just walks up and down Broadway, and it's not a woo girl party. It's actually him with a heat wave around him. That's where
that happens quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back sweat party.
Ew, that's the worst,
See,
man.
the big boy in me on days like today wants to just lay on a cold bathroom floor. Like, you just walk in and you can just feel yourself kind of icky and sticky and gross. Like, I'll just come home, first thing I do, just go lay in a cold bath. So y'all can talk to me in an hour and a half.
Are you a dog?
Pretty much. I got that dog in me. I be taking baths all the time. See, this is a misconception among
you about to do the what's his name? What's the wrestler's name? Oh golly, this is the misconception when it comes down to God dog. What is his name? I got you in a second. Don't worry about
It's
it.
this heat.
It's the heat.
It's affecting our brains.
It is affecting our brains. But that's what Zeus does. He won't lay on like his bed. He lays on the floor, a hard floor. It's been times when it's been super hot. He will actually stay in the garage and not walk in. Dusty Rose is what I thought you was about to do.
the American dream, baby. This ain't for you. This is for somebody else. This is I've wined and dined with kings and queens, and I have sweated my ass off on pork and beans,
baby.
Somehow he comes across my algorithm all the time. Dusty Rose trash talking is amazing.
He's electric, man.
He is electric for the big boys too,
dude. For sure, he changed the game, man. Back then, it was all big guys, all Hulk Hogan's and Randy Savage's and body of Adonises, and then he came in there looking like a melting ice cream cone and still got it done.
He did. Yeah, this is that portion of the year too where the big boys carry around towels.
I saw Ron put out a how-to video on his Twitter about
that towel thing.
How to make a little towelette work for you.
Here we go.
Yeah, I've seen that. I refuse to be a big boy walking around with a towel. I've seen dudes with like full-fledged, like not the hand towels. What's the other one? The longer towel.
Yeah, it's like the medium size. It's not a washcloth. It's not a hand towel. It's that other size.
It's the
like
big
a chamois.
A chamois, yeah.
Chamois,
Man, I'd be like, man, that looks hot. That's all I say to me. Boy, you look hot walking around with a hand towel. I don't know if I've ever gotten to that point. Like, I'm a forehead sweat wiper. Like get the beads off my forehead. But the towel, that's really a whole bunch of heat.
There was nothing worse than getting to the point where sweat would get in your eyes. I don't know if y'all ever had this problem.
In yoga.
Where I genuinely could not open my eyes because they would be so sweaty. And you can't run with a towel. So, there was nothing I could do. So I tried to do like headbands, like literally sweatbands, like a basketball player, where everybody probably thought I looked so stupid. Well, honestly, there's plenty of reasons why I look stupid.
Prefontaine ran with a sweatband, didn't he?
Yeah, but I'm not Steve Prefontaine. I don't have the facilities for that. I'm not that guy. And so the thing I tried to do was sunglasses, and that would just make it worse because then it would trap in the sweat, and then you would be like windshield wipers. I was like, I need windshield wipers for my sunglasses. I cannot see a thing, and then I'm like running into cars and about to just. It was just not a fun time.
That's like painful. That's the one thing about hot yoga I do not like. The one thing, because you will be like midway through class, all of a sudden the sweat just starts to just go. And you're doing something like, because it's a lot of moving and you're upside down. And then it just starts to get in your eyes. There's been points where I've literally just like been blind for like 2 minutes. And like trying to find my towel to wipe off the sweat in my eyes. Because once it gets in there, man, that is a disaster.
And it doesn't stop. That's the same thing with like training camp. And it only happens in camp. You leave out of practice, your eyes are red because it's salty sweat. I was just thinking to myself, is it hair product in my hair that's making it burn like this?
Salt.
Salt is what it is. And then like you leave out of practice dehydrated, tired, hurting, and red eyes.
Red eyes.
It's the worst thing ever. I'm like, dude.
You don't want to get pulled over. You'd be like, no, I just came from practice. That's all.
Just golly, that is the worst. Salt and eyes at this time of the year is the worst.
Not a good mixture.
And there's nothing you can do in a helmet either. Like,
yeah, I was gonna say there's nothing you can do either.
It's like an oven in there.
It is an oven in there, unless you're LSU.
Oh, true.
I don't know how that's gonna work.
Air conditioners or fans?
Yeah,
or
you hadn't
something?
seen they're getting fans in their helmets.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's like when clothes places will try to sell you like with instant cooling technology.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I don't believe you.
Do you believe it with the beds?
We have one of those.
Yeah.
When you don't have the sheet on it, you can feel the coolness.
Okay.
But once we all sleep with, I would think, our sheets, like at least on the first part of it.
Unless you're in college.
True. That's gross. But if you put the sheet on, then it goes away. You can't even feel the difference. I'm like, well, then what's the point of the cooling bed?
The most expensive mattress I bought wasn't even the Sleep Number.
Yeah.
It was a dude upselling me that this Tempur-Pedic memory foam situation that they were selling me was going to draw my body heat out of me through the mattress and disperse it. And I fell for it. Mattress was friggin'. Y'all don't even want to know what this mattress was. It's still in the house, though. It's really good.
For the guests?
For the guests now, because we got the Sleep Number or whatever through the NFL. That mattress was about like $8,000 for the mattress.
Yeah, I believe
yes. And this was in 2012, 13.
Oh, in this economy?
In this economy.
Sleep over at Moan's house.
Dude, no lie.
Right?
The guest room bed is like phenomenal. Everybody's like, oh my God, I love this mattress. You better love that mattress.
I know. Our guests are like, go sit on the blow up. Like, here's the blow up. Go blow it up and sleep on it.
What happened
There
to
you go.
futons, man? You know
I don't
what I'm saying?
I was just about to buy one on Prime Day.
I still got
day.
one.
And
Like, yeah, man, they oversold me on that mattress for sure. I was a sucker, definitely a sucker.
Have you guys seen the fans that they have that blow air at the foot of your bed up through your
Yes.
bed, and it keeps your whole bed cold?
I got a targeted ad for one of those on Instagram the other day, and I was like, oh, like, this looks nice. Like, this would be a good thing to have. Then I clicked on it, $2,100.
They are so expensive.
And for that reason, I'm out.
Oh,
I feel like that would be a DIY project. Like, you could find a way to make that
100%.
work on yourself with a box fan, some
That's what I was
grocery
gonna say.
bags.
A box fan with a box behind it, tilted up underneath your sheets, boom,
That
done.
would work.
Are you guys like fan on when you sleep?
Yeah.
Oh,
In
yeah.
the
Have to
summer.
be.
In the summer for sure.
It ain't even for the air no more.
For the sound.
Yep.
Yeah. It cancels out a lot.
It does.
Shoot, I got to have it for the cool because Cheyenne, there is something wrong with this woman. I tell y'all, man.
Do not come on here and rat on
Nah,
her.
something's wrong with this girl. She sleep with an
If you're gonna do it,
electric.
at least you're doing it at 6:12. So
Right,
that's
she
fair.
ain't up yet. What's she
Oh,
gonna
that's
do?
good.
She can't leave me yet. She sleeps with an electric blanket, so I
No,
will get
not
like
at this
curled
time.
up. I'm like, dang gum girl, it's like 80 degrees. I'll like, my hand will go over to her side, and I just feel her sweaty, clammy body. I'm like, get that damn thing out of the bed, girl. What's wrong with you?
In the summer, she sleeps with a heated
She's
blanket. Now
crazy,
that is
Kayla.
taking it beyond. I get cold. I sleep sometimes with
Nope.
extra blankets in the winter. Never in the summer.
It was like, this woman is out of control. Like 1 minute after, like, don't do this.
I'm telling you, she's just a hot-natured person. She has to be warm. If I get it to like even close to below 70, she's like, I need a blanket.
I swear. We're going to see
Bert fighting
her.
World War III over the temperature of a room.
We're going to see her walk up a ladder through
Right?
that window one day, and I swear to you, there's no entryway on that window. She's going to find you, Bert. I swear,
Or they'll
dog.
just be eggs on the window.
Oh,
get me.
my gosh.
Come get me.
She'll just egg it.
I'm Team Cheyenne. I just want to say that right now.
Well, usually when you advocate for people, that doesn't go well. So don't you put that
Take
evil
it
on
back.
Robert.
Because I'm scared.
Take it
I'm
back.
taking it back because I'm scared of like what Cheyenne's capable.
You're out of the, what are they?
The
Vouchers.
circles.
Vouchers.
Yeah, I am.
You're out of
you
vouchers.
can't be
You're out of
vouching.
vouchers.
I can't join
Don't
the
put that evil on me, Ramon.
You don't voucher, you just hardly know her. 615-737-1045 is our number. Coming up, what Vegas may or may not know about the DeAndre Hopkins betting market and why DraftKings may be moving the betting odds for DeAndre Hopkins based on one guy's opinion. Coming up as we continue on Ramon K. Lidwell.
It's Ramon and Kayla for Window Nation, and y'all heard us speaking about it a second ago. It's hot today, Kayla. You said you walked out of the house and you said you knew it was going to be a steamer.
Woo-wee.
Exactly. The heat, the humidity, scorching, sweaty temps, high temps, forcing your AC into overdrive, even if you got a heat blanket in your bed. Okay, leading to sky high energy bills. The solution. New windows from Window Nation, where you can save thousands a day with no money down, no payment, and pay no interest for 2 years. Plus, Window Nation will give you 2 free windows with every 2 you buy. So protect and increase the value of your home today by calling 866-90Nation or going online to windownation.com.
And we were talking about just, how much you can save on those actual energy bills. And not just in the summertime where we're cranking up the AC, but, also once the winter comes here, that heat goes up. So you can save up to 30% on your energy bills right now. And also, Ramon, you've got lots of neighbors in your neighborhood, and I know they're all jealous because you can increase the value of your home by up to $12,000 from getting new windows at Window Nation. So it is 000 for 2 years, no money down, no payments, and no interest for 2 full years. Go ahead, check our friends out at Window Nation. They won't do you wrong. 866-90Nation or go to windownation.com.
Thursday morning on Ramon, Kayla, and Will, and it's powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. Visit allfourseasonsgarages.com/Nashville. Full crew here. 615-737-1045 is how you join in. And guys, the DeAndre Hopkins betting market is overwhelmingly favoring the Tennessee Titans. Starting the day at plus 500 yesterday and moving to minus 300. Essentially meaning that in order to win $100 on betting where DeAndre Hopkins is going to go, you got to bet $300 to win $100, which would make the Titans overwhelming favorites over the next closest team, New England, who are plus 425, followed by Kansas City and Buffalo at plus 800. Significant or not?
I think it's significant because we're close to the camp.
Right.
Significant,
2 weeks out.
Let me say this. I don't want to believe it, though.
Why?
Because this right here to me, and I know this happened, I think, during the NBA draft, too.
NFL draft also.
And they drummed up the idea that Brandon Miller was going somewhere else, and they didn't want him, and it was for Vegas to make money. That was my thing. Like, if it's actually true, good. But I don't want to believe it in the idea that I don't want to be tricked by this, too, just so you can make a couple $1 million off these bets.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest betting person, so I don't know the ins and outs of, all the things that go on behind the scenes. And there's so many different betting companies now, too. They all do business different, I feel like, a little bit. But initially, I think my thoughts were, this is significant, like mentioned by Ramon, because we're just 2 weeks out from training camp.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, maybe they know something that, we don't know. But then again, it is Vegas, and it is all about them making money. So I don't know. I'm 50-50 now.
I'm 50-50. If it's really slanting in the Titans' way, this is good. You really have a good core of guys that can make plays for you. I feel like you at least got two solid guys at wide receiver, and you got a tight end that you trust too. And I hate discounting NWI too.
Right.
Like you got a 1 or 2 role player and a 3, Kyle Phillips with some growth this year, and Chig. That's a competitive squad right there. Mm-hmm. Everybody wants the what do you want to call them? What Cincy has, right? They want Jamar Chase. They want T. Higgins. They want those types of guys, but not every team's going to have those types of guys. Heck, Kansas City doesn't even have that group of guys right now.
Yeah, and I think that's the one thing too, guys. We have not really heard much more about Kansas City being interested. We heard a little blurb about the Bills, which I don't really think is going anywhere. So I think just my own personal beliefs, he's going there. Yeah. Just for the options right now. But then again, that can change at the drop of a dime.
It could. And this is the other thing, too, Kayla, that I don't want to see happen. I don't want to see this fan base or this team get sucked in by a guy that a name, somebody that has made a lot of plays, Julio Jones, and that you go down this skid again of just, old wide receiver that we can't maximize as on our team. That's the part of it where I'm just like, I'm cautiously optimistic is where I'm at.
You don't want to vouch.
I don't know.
What you're saying.
I'm out of vouchers.
Yeah.
I'm out of vouchers or vouchers.
Right.
Vegas has no rooting interests. Start there. Vegas doesn't care which team particularly is or isn't in the spotlight, but there is an element of this where big fan bases and big brands get different odds, right? It's why the Dallas Cowboys always have somewhat decent odds to win the Super Bowl, not because they ever are actually contenders. It's because they're trying to bait rabid Dallas Cowboys fans and or people who hate the Dallas Cowboys into betting on Dallas one way or another.
Yeah.
Same thing with Kentucky basketball, Alabama football. Vegas, their job is to make it where 50% of the money is on both sides of something.
Right.
So I think we have to start with a fundamental understanding of what these odds are. Secondly, let's go back to the NFL draft and the movement that happened on the day of the draft for Will Levis. Will Levis in one day went from 60-1 to 6-1 odds at FanDuel to be the number 1 overall pick because somebody on Reddit said, which Reddit with no credibility, says that Levis is telling people he's going to Carolina.
Yep.
One Reddit post from someone who doesn't even put their real name on their account got a betting market to move from 60-1 to 6-1.
I forgot about that.
On the day of the draft, too, the favorite to go number 2 overall was Will Levis in the NFL draft at plus 150.
Yeah.
Will Anderson was second best odds. Tyree Wilson was third best. Number 3 overall pick, Tyree Wilson. C.J. Stroud was the second best probability of being the number 3 pick. Will Levis also the favorite to be the number 4 pick. I mean, there were many things that changed rapidly in the NFL draft based on info. So I think we have to go back to where this info came from when it comes to DraftKings Sports.
Yeah.
And I think this is an important distinction you now have to make in the world where sports books create their own content. And there's Mike Lombardi on the DraftKings network, who on a podcast that is under the DraftKings umbrella has this to say on Monday.
Do you think that we get this third team that gets into the fray here, or is it just going to come down to New England or Tennessee, and he's pretty much waiting until training camp to sign?
Oh, I think there's more than 1-2 teams in it. I just don't think the third team's going to pay. I mean, I could see Buffalo being in it. I could see Kansas City being in it. I could see any team that wants to get a bargain for a slot receiver in it. But I don't think they're going to get the market to drive it up. And I think he's going to have to rely on a receiver getting injured or a team becoming desperate. I think the only team he'll get more money out of will be Tennessee, because Tennessee certainly could use him. They need him. They don't have enough skill, they don't have enough explosiveness offensively. They certainly could use him.
Yeah, and Mike Reese is reporting that the Titans have been, quote, more aggressive to this point. So that goes in line with what you've been saying, that Tennessee could be the team that has the urgency to go ahead and sign him there. If you had your best guess, do you think he ends up in Tennessee, or does he go to New England, or do you think Tennessee is where he goes?
My guess is it's going to be Tennessee, because I think Tennessee will pay. I think Tennessee will stretch a little bit here.
There's Michael Lombardi of the DraftKings Network. And while I agree with everything he has to say, I think ESPN's report from Mike Reese about the Titans making the most aggressive offer certainly plays into this as well.
Yeah.
Information like that is going to influence a betting market. That being said, when a sports book creates its own content and then someone within that content has an opinion, of course you're going to move the line based on what your content has to say.
Yeah. That actually makes sense, that hearing that now. Look, does he say anything different from what we've been saying? Not really.
Not at all.
Once we heard the Reese report from the New England camp, we all kind of were like, okay, well, that's probably a better chance he comes here for sure. Yeah. But it's not like Lombardi has any extra insight, right? But it was enough for, like Will was saying, to kind of put the sports book in favor of, the Titans. Yeah. We're going to increase the odds there.
If you're DeAndre, the question I have, do you go with what makes sense, or you go with what fills your pocket?
I don't know. That's the big question.
Because he's made so much now that it's just like, okay, well, what's another $8 million to him? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's all money in a sense. But it's like, do you really want to go play football, or do you want to just, I hate to say, ride a wave with somebody else? Because that's what you're getting out of Kansas City. But I get, why would you go do that, though? You're an older player. You want a ring, potentially. You had a suspension last year for PEDs, whatever it was. You get an opportunity to walk away with a ring. I look at this almost like the AB tour. AB went to what he thought was a real good situation with the Raiders. Same thing that he did going to Arizona, right? You see what I'm saying? Like, you have those situations drum up, and then the next thing you know, you're out. You're older guy. So do you find yourself trying to slither yourself into New England, but then find your way to Tampa to win a ring? Or do you say, no, let me go get my stats? Because I think Antonio was at a point to where he was a sure ballot Hall of Famer. I think now he'll be a down-the-line guy because of stats, because of how he broke up with the NFL and stuff like that. DeAndre has the PED hovering over him. Do you want to go get more stats to really help your case, or do you want the ring that you think you can get with Kansas City or with Buffalo? Like, those are my scenarios for him.
What's easier, stats or a ring?
Stats.
Even if he went to Kansas City?
100%.
Ring is so hard to get.
You could go anywhere for stats.
You can,
Not anywhere, but you could go. More places can give you the platform to be a number one, in my opinion, versus teams that can give you the platform to win a ring.
And maybe this is another show topic we can have, but look at just what if Aaron Rodgers does get hot? The AFC gets harder. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What if Jacksonville drum up something? What if the Titans find a way into a high seed into the playoffs, because of the running game? We don't know what Lamar's situation. I think trying to pick a team to win a ring is way harder than saying, man, I'm going to go try to give me 1,000 for the next 2 years.
Look at Kevin Durant.
You see what I'm saying? Like, he's still chasing after leaving.
Another reason why I think it really behooves the Titans to like be aggressive in this scenario is once training camp runs comes around, all it takes is one injury to a player like Stephon Diggs or a Justin Jefferson to make another team that's not necessarily an opponent to you in landing DeAndre to now all of a sudden you're having to fight off another team who has a much greater need now because of an injury that happened in training camp. So if we all keep biding our time and waiting and just putting in a ho-hum offer, like that may land you DeAndre, but it also may give everyone else enough time to put their offer in.
Yeah.
Or a scenario come up where they have to put an offer
injury
in.
or something. Yeah.
There's one team that was in this race more than anybody else. I'd be like, yeah, he's probably going there. And that team to me is Baltimore. If Baltimore was actually like really bidding for DeAndre, I'd be like, man, I actually think he'd find himself there.
Why?
If they hadn't done the OBJ signing, I would totally agree with you. But I think they're not going to get they're not going to get OBJ again. They have OBJ at home.
That's true, but my point of it is they got a strong defense. They got a quarterback that's dynamic, and you just role play with Lamar.
Mm-hmm.
On Baltimore's front, I could see them making a push because they've really. They haven't gone all in, but they've gone almost all in.
See what I'm saying?
But like, so if a Bateman injury happens in training camp, or like Zay Flowers, they get in a training camp and he's really not what they thought he was. I don't see that happening. But I mean, they even went and spent on Nelson Aguilar, who's like a 3 or 4. Like if one of those guys got injured and D-Hop was still sitting out there and there was a fair price, I think they would make the call.
Is it fair to say that D-Hop, is this too out there to say that he might be waiting to see if something happens in training camps to someone? I know that sounds horrible, but I don't know. I don't think that's too far-fetched at this point. He's ho-humming along.
Yeah.
The fifth team in terms of betting odds is one we have not ever mentioned for DeAndre Hopkins. They also have plus 2,500 odds, so it's not going to happen. This is really a 4-team race as far as Vegas is concerned. The Detroit Lions are the team with the fifth best odds at 2,500.
Huh.
Which is funny that now Detroit is a team that's being floated around for available players.
Available players. Play indoor in the NFC North, iffy.
I mean, Detroit's not a factor for DeAndre Hopkins. Not right now. They could become one quickly if something happens. I mean, you never know in the NFL, but there's no way.
And you talk about having DeAndre Hopkins at home, like it's not like they have Marvin Jones. Not saying that's D-Hop, but they have an older guy.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? They have an older vet who can play that kind of same game that he does.
That's interesting.
I do think it creates a dangerous precedent for sports books to kind of create their own content and create their own betting markets this time of year, because every sports book now has genuine, content creation going on.
Yeah, they do.
But the Detroit thing is interesting to me because, obviously they have a window that you feel like is opening. And that does feel like another team that, like Mike Vrabel, you've got to grind it out, player first head coach. Yeah. You've got a decent enough quarterback. I would put Jared Goff and Ryan Tannehill within the same tier of NFL quarterbacks. That's
sure.
I think those two are maybe more similar to each other than anyone else in the league. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, you've got a defense that's good enough to put you in the Super Bowl conversation if Detroit really gets hot. I mean, I don't know. It doesn't feel like a fit to me in terms of I don't know. It's just one of those where it's very irrational on my perspective. But, like, imagine DeAndre Hopkins in a Detroit Lions jersey.
It would be,
if I can imagine a player in a jersey, then it's a fit. And I know that's a really stupid way to think of it.
When you said Detroit, as much as I actually like what Detroit is doing, I was like, I don't know if I can see him there, though. I can see him in New England, crazy enough to say. I could see him in a New England jersey.
Yeah.
But, like, Detroit, I don't know.
To me, it doesn't feel like there's a team that isn't a totally contender who's going to get in the mix now without him going on a visit there and going through the process.
Yeah.
Like, the only team to me that's going to step in this late and just out of the blue make an offer is a team that DeAndre doesn't need to visit. Mm-hmm. It feels like he would need to go to Detroit and see, like, all right,
that's fair.
What am I walking into? What's the culture here? Who's throwing to me? Who's on this team with me? And, you have the Jamison Williams suspension that obviously could play a role in that too. But
That's true too.
it feels like if he was interested in Detroit, he would have visited Detroit. Otherwise, it's the ring chasing teams that you don't have to visit and like, all right, well, you guys just go to Kansas City.
Sure. And again, I just keep coming back to AFC South. I think right now it's still a division where you have a better chance of winning a division title and making it to the playoffs with a team like the Titans, because I know Jacksonville's going to get that love. But if you get DeAndre there, and DeAndre should think this, DeAndre Hopkins should think, if I go to the Titans, I'm going to make them better. I'm going to allow them to compete for the AFC South title.
And that's why I wanted to lean into, as far as just like, if you're that guy, and I think he's still somewhat him in a sense, you got to think like, look, they're asking me to come here to drag them along with me. I need to be able to do this. And this is also where he can help. I ain't going to say not that he needed, but his legacy. Like him and Traylon together. Like, think about what you can actually pass on.
I like that.
I do think Julio did good with AJ and telling him and showing him how to be a pro off the field
He
type
just
of
couldn't
situation.
stay on the field.
He just couldn't stay on the field himself. Exactly. So it's fascinating. We'll see how it works out. It'd be awesome if they could get him, because, again, you have better chance if you got the name at least. It just sucks that this has been a trend for the last 4 years.
Well, yeah, and you bring up a good point that if DeAndre Hopkins becomes a Tennessee Titan, don't view him as the savior of this offense.
No, not the savior.
That was the issue with Julio Jones. It's like, oh, this is the missing piece. Like, you need about 2 DeAndre Hopkins, and then you could talk about missing pieces, because the Titans are not 1 receiver away from contending. They're like 3 receivers away, genuinely.
Yeah.
But I think if you're Hopkins and you're a competitor and you're still wanting to put numbers up, you're looking at the Titan situation as a better situation for himself, because you feel like you could add to that wide receiver room and really compete in this division.
I still think if Kansas City raises enough money with the Chris Jones extension, that is the overwhelming team that makes the most sense, because you have opportunity mixed with a chance to win a championship that you don't have here. Not immediately.
Question I have is it's probably come down to money too.
Yeah, I don't know how much they're going to be able to give him.
It's fair. 615-737-1045. More details on that coming up. And details of where Chase Burns is going to pitch. Former Tennessee pitcher announcing his new destination yesterday, as we get to headlines here in the first hour on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. Welcome to your Thursday morning on a mode. Kayla and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. Robert Walsh spinning the hits. Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson. I'm Will Bowling, and Chase Burns has his new program. Wake Forest will be the new home for the likely top 10 pick in the 2024 MLB draft. After entering the transfer portal on June 27th, the Hendersonville native heads to Winston-Salem.
Yeah.
Is this like a trade deal we did to get Robert Walsh? What happened here?
That's a terrible trade, y'all.
Worst trade deal in the history of trade deals.
Y'all got the short end of the stick with that one.
I don't know. Your starting pitching ERA wasn't 6.1 this past year.
That's true. That's true.
No,
You are everyday starter, too, for us.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
Oh,
We would
midweek.
never move Robert Walsh to the bullpen.
I'm telling you, somebody else can pitch weekends. That's fine with me. I'll take Monday through Friday.
There we go.
That actually works out
Monday
pretty
through Friday
good.
crew, baby.
Actually. But no way. Wake Forest wasn't on my radar.
I didn't really think of Wake Forest, and maybe I didn't think too deep into this, but this year they kind of like came out of the blue in a way. Like we knew they were going to be up there in terms of, the preseason rankings and stuff, but they were number one in the country for a bit, right? And they kind of just came out of the ACC like flexing, and I guess I didn't think about next year or the year after and what they've built.
Yeah.
But I didn't think this was his landing spot in the ACC. I didn't.
Now, I don't know if this is a big part of it either, but Wake Forest is a private school, and they have tons of money.
Yep.
Like, it is, I think, aside from Duke, it is the second most expensive school in the ACC to go to.
Okay.
So I would imagine that they have a lot of donors who probably put their pennies together and rubbed it together, and hopefully they could get Burns in there. And they figured it out. They got him over there. So I would assume the money had something to do with it, but what do I know?
I'd expected TCU had heard that was really the team to beat. There were rumors of LSU originally for Chase Burns, and that would have been Henry To'oTo'o 2.0 had that happened. But again, it's a shame that him and Tennessee couldn't make it work, and that moving to the bullpen for a second straight year essentially ended his career before it was even over in the middle of the season, which Tony Vitello on interviews has essentially said now is that, this is something we kind of thought was coming. And Brent Hubbs told us that, Ramon, while you were out, and said, I think it was while you were out, that Tennessee did get to a point in Hattiesburg where they felt like Chase Burns was maybe going to stay, actually. And that moment of being the guy at Hattiesburg and pushing them forward into the College World Series was going to be enough.
He was electric.
Yeah.
I mean, a little surprising because, again, the move Tony Vitello made, it'd be one thing if he got moved to the bullpen and was bad in the bullpen.
Yeah.
Like he went from having a 6.1 ERA as a starter to then like a 3.54 ERA for the whole season as a reliever.
I think Bert is on something there,
Sorry,
though,
that's
for
his
sure.
career, 3.54 ERA.
Okay. I was talking to a couple coaches at the MTSU event I spoke at the other day, and I had asked specifically about just transfer portal, right? And just what it's like as a coach now to deal with that kind of stuff, and what's the biggest reason for these big time names or these names that get a name in the middle schools that go to a big school, and it's 100% they are saying this is the money, we're going to give this the money. Does it always happen to be the whole entire pot?
No.
That's still a problem.
Yeah
They can still promise you money and not necessarily give you at all. And I'm not saying that's the case here, but I'm saying I think Bert's right. I think there's a lot of dollar bills, that they could have probably said, hey, we're a good program, but by the way, we got some money too.
100%. The money is most of it is all it is at that point, because he's a guy that's going to go in the draft regardless.
Yeah.
Right,
He's a top
y'all?
10 pick.
Yep.
It's supposed to be anyway. My question, there's a lot of ifs and buts and candies and nuts, right, that comes down to it. But I'm like, you mentioned something, Kayla, I was just like, you're right. Like, it ain't even like dudes that transferred out when I played were dudes that was just like, came into college, partied really hard, thought they were supposed to be a starter because they recruited him hard, and the next thing you know, they sucked in practice. Like, he actually has a name. He's actually big time. Tommy Tanks, I guess, is the same way too. Schemes,
And
I guess.
Tommy White at NC State.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, from LSU. I'm guessing Paul Skeens would have probably been the dude regardless had he stayed at Air Force, potentially. I know support matters in baseball, too, when you're pitching. I think he could have still potentially been a first-round pick. LSU probably hiding it. But the dudes that you're speaking of are guys
Sure.
that are leaving. Like, you're real dudes.
Mm-hmm.
This never happened right there. And this is kind of confusing to me. Like, Chase is going to be fine regardless. I still say good luck to him. And sometimes you just rock the boat a little bit too much on either side and you're out.
Yeah, I think Frank Anderson is not the normal style of pitching coach that Tennessee has.
Mm-hmm.
Frank Anderson, much more old school, a little more tough love.
A little bit more brash.
Yeah.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, I think as a pitcher, it's a little bit different than maybe other sports too, where you gel with the right pitching coach, and that's all it takes.
Because you're spending a lot of time with that pitching coach.
I mean, that's really kind of your head coach.
Yeah.
At that point, like, you're gonna. It's kind of like a big offensive coordinator getting a quarterback to commit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
When you play for a defensive head coach, right? I mean, if you play for a coach that's more based on hitting and has a past of hitters, then you're going to commit based on the pitching coach.
Right.
So I think that's maybe what I mean. This was the number 1 team in the country in the NCAA tournament last year. Of course, you're going to be interested, but not the traditional power maybe that we expected.
No.
Right.
So
and that was my thing too. Wake Forest, I feel like is a school that I thought personally, like you said, Kayla, they came out as number 1 out of the ACC. Like, who are y'all? You know what I'm saying? I thought it was honestly one of those situations where a team get really hot in the year and they probably fall off.
I did
Wake
too.
Forest is just like, no, we're here to stay.
Yeah.
We, like Robert said, we got a bag and we're willing to pay y'all. I wonder who else they got in the portal this year.
Well, they lost Rhett Lauder, the long-haired pitcher who did not lose a game until they faced LSU in the championship. He went 7th overall in the MLB draft. So having to replace him with another top 10 pitching prospect is a pretty big get for Wake Forest.
Okay.
I agree. Yep. Because he was so good for them.
Yes, and their leadoff, too. I think he's draft eligible next year, if I'm not mistaken. Only reason I remember because he's wearing Jordan 1s out there. He was wearing Jordans at bat. He's supposed to be really good, too. They got a good team.
No, they do. Yeah, no doubt about that.
Yeah, they have a good team.
Yep.
On ESPN.com this morning, the latest position rankings have come out, this time at the tight end position. Somebody didn't rank Mark Andrews as a top 10 tight end, which is wild.
Oh, wow.
It's okay to be wrong. Everybody has to be wrong sometimes.
I was waiting on it.
Yeah, the highest ranking he had was 2. Lowest ranking somebody had, it says out of top 10.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, somebody tweeted this morning and
What
said,
fairy dust did that dude get sprinkled
which
with?
NFL exec didn't put Mark Andrews inside his top 10 tight ends?
Yeah,
Please show your work.
bizarre.
They must have had their kid doing the voting.
Who do you think's number 1? But I mean, this is an obvious answer, I guess.
Kelsey?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say between Kittle and Kelsey, who would you put
Kelsey
number
right
1?
now.
Kelsey right now.
Yeah.
Kelsey's
Definitely.
production kind of speaks for itself. Although I think if you put Kittle with Patrick Mahomes, he'd probably have the same level of production.
Yeah, Kittle just gets a little bit bumped up and bruised a little more, right?
Yes, he does.
That's the
Yes,
only
he
difference.
He's doing a lot more dirty work, too,
He
where he's
is.
going out there trying to have to beat guys up in the run game. But
Yep.
Kelsey is 33, man. When is this dude going to hit a wall?
I don't know.
Like, come on, man. You can't be cool forever.
Not that we expected him to be, but Chikakonkwo not on the honorable mentions or anything, or received 0 votes.
You give me a couple that's
top
on there?
10.
Do you have it listed in front of you?
I do have the list in front of
Okay,
me.
because I just want to know who are the honorable mentions we should be looking out for if Chig's not on it.
Well, the top 5 are Kelsey, Kittle, Andrews, Goddard, and Waller.
Fair.
Hawkinson, shout out Robert Walsh. Kyle Pitts.
Kyle Pitts.
Uh,
Giving Kyle Pitts some love, huh?
I don't know about that one.
He's still getting love. He's been getting love.
I
The
know.
dude has not stopped getting
I don't know
love.
about that one. Evan Ingram is on the list. Pat Fryermuth
Yeah.
from
Oh,
Pittsburgh.
okay.
And then Nashville's own Dawson Knox rounds out the top 10.
The tight end is a tough position group to break through, man. This is
It is.
a lot of, and the longevity of that position. It's not like where running backs you turn 27 and people are ready to ship you off.
Yeah,
like
right.
tight
Yeah.
ends can kind of stick around a little bit longer once they
Establish
premiere at the
themselves.
show.
Olsen stuck around for a while.
Greg
Hey,
Olsen? Oh, yeah.
Tony Gonzalez
He had a
did.
great career.
exactly.
Antonio Gates stuck around
Yeah.
until his mid-30s.
Absolutely.
Keep
man.
saying how long. Nah, we got to get a break. But I was going to see how long we could name tight ends.
old tight ends.
Jeremy Shockey.
Delaney Walker.
Yeah,
Delaney Walker. Oh, Witten retired
Jason
Jason
Witten.
and went back.
VFL.
Give us random tight ends in the chat.
Elizabethton Cyclone legend.
Is that who they are? The Cyclones?
I like the tight end position. I
I
just
do
got to
too.
say that.
Me too.
I don't know.
I love a tight end.
It's
I
the
know.
mix
Who
of
doesn't?
personality of offensive line, yet the flair and style of
Yeah,
wide receiver.
that's
Wide
why.
receiver.
Best
There
of
you
both
go.
worlds.
Yep.
There you go.
Exactly what it is.
Coming up, I gave up on Hard Knocks years ago, but maybe you didn't. And you can watch Aaron Rodgers on it because Aaron Rodgers doesn't get near enough attention. He says with the utmost sarcasm. The New York Jets are on Hard Knocks. Our reaction next on 104.5 The Zone.
7 o'clock on the dot. Good morning from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Robert Walsh. Pro Football Hall of Fame news as longtime Oilers and Titans owner Bud Adams is named a semifinalist in the Coach Contributor category for the Pro Football Hall of Fame class of 2024. Former Oiler return man Billy White Shoes Johnson and longtime scout C.O. Bricado also advanced for consideration. And some major movement in the betting world yesterday as DeAndre Hopkins signing with the Titans moved from plus 500 to a favorite at minus 300. Do what you will with that information. And some baseball news for the Vols as Tennessee right-handed pitcher Chase Burns announced he is transferring to Wake Forest on his Instagram yesterday. The number 9 overall prospect in the 2024 Major League Draft is headed to Winston-Salem. Burns went 5-3 with a 4.25 ERA. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Welcome to your Thursday morning on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. It's powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. And coming up, the most interesting man in the NFL. The only place you can hear Titans Radio's head coach is right here on 104.5 The Zone. And you will be able to hear him in 20 minutes talking about my favorite Titans game maybe of all time that we heard highlights from with Rhett Bryan yesterday, the Rob Baronis 60-yarder. Coach Mack was there. We'll get his reaction to Rob Baronis kicking a December football through the uprights to beat the Indianapolis Colts on a December day in LP Field.
The Indianapolis Colts.
That is right, at the time. 615-737-1045 is our number. We'll get to the big headline yesterday in the NFL where Hall of Fame semifinalists were listed, including one Bud Adams, Billy White Shoes Johnson on there as well. Coach Mack gives the insight only he can give on all of those things and much, much more. With Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, Robert Walsh, our producer, I'm Will Bowling, and get your remotes ready to turn to something else because the Jets are on Hard Knocks.
That was a good setup there.
I will be watching.
We need one soundbite to come out of there that's going to make it super attractive.
My! You think only one?
Bro.
It's got to be something controversial, like
You
AB
guys are
running
acting
out.
like it's just Aaron Rodgers there.
I'm
not watching for Aaron Rodgers.
He's got to be the show.
But he's going to be there, so I won't be
but
watching.
I'm not watching for him because there's going to be. I'm watching for Zach Wilson, baby.
That's what I was hoping.
You, Aaron
Right.
Rodgers.
Be careful. He will slide in your DMs.
I don't care. I've already spoke with him and interviewed him, but I actually I put a little piece up from last year's tight end U camp. And Zach Wilson was here with CJ Uzomah, who is their tight end there, who has a ton of personality.
Yes,
Nashville guy, CJ Uzomah.
Former Cincy guy.
Yeah, former Cincy guy. So their little spat that they had, it was hilarious. You can go on to my Twitter, Kayla Anderson TV, to go see it. But just the personalities with those two, I was like, I'm just interested to watch those two and Sauce Gardner and some of these other up-and-coming, wide receivers, some of the young guys.
Yep.
But Zach Wilson's mentoring, or Aaron Rodgers' mentoring of Zach Wilson, I really legitimately am interested to see if they show any of that because it is going to be a part of if Zach Wilson is going to be there or not in the future. Because I think that he will try to learn under Aaron Rodgers. Why wouldn't you? And try to earn back this team's respect, which clearly he kind of lost last year. I think that dynamic alone is pretty interesting. I am so Aaron Rodgers out. I am with you guys on that. But he always will add a little just ridiculous moment too, that you can at least laugh or just roll your eyes. And I'm here for entertainment. So I did not watch Hard Knocks last year. I will watch it this year.
The Sauce is very interesting. You're right. They have a few other young guys. Like, honestly, I hope Quinnen Williams don't sign till later.
And that was the other one. I love Quinnen.
I kind of want to see what that's going to look like as far as them trying to get the deal done.
Yeah.
I like the front office conversation. The practice stuff, I'm like, okay, yeah, that's cool. They're supposed to fight.
That.
The theatrics of all that is always awesome. But hearing how they cut guys, I never wanted us to ever be on Hard Knocks. I didn't want to hear the real opinions. Yeah, because we were close one year. I think we went 8-8 or something like that, and we were in the conversation. We were quickly out of it, but I always say, like, who actually wants to know how the sausage is made when it comes down to you keeping your job or one of your friends getting fired from the job? Like, man, I think you're pretty good. You hear the GM and the position coach and the assistant scouts talking. Hey, yeah, he kind of sucked. We can upgrade right here, y'all. Like, can you imagine hearing that about yourself? One of my good friends was one of the first guys that got cut from the Atlanta Hard Knocks.
Yeah.
The first cut, and his actually went viral because they walked him in and he was super unassuming behind the Roosevelt Knicks is who it was.
That's right.
And he was just like, and I interviewed him on my pod, and he was just like, man, it was just so much exposure. He was like, I know it was the business. He said, but my down moment was everybody's entertainment factor. And I was just like,
yeah,
dang,
mm-hmm.
You know, like that right there, that sucks. So, but it is what it is.
I think we have more good sports documentaries now than we did when Hard Knocks was at its peak.
Oh, sure.
Because Hard Knocks is not at its peak anymore.
No.
This used to be kind of the unofficial start of football season. Was Hard Knocks.
It was.
Sweet. Let's see which practice squad guy I'm going to irrationally love this year and root for.
Mm-hmm.
And then that guy literally wouldn't make the roster, but you would never know it because by the time actual football starts, you're not watching Hard Knocks anymore. It's the first 3 weeks of it that are like, oh, this is great. Like, you know, I can whet the football appetite again. We have more things to do that for us now than we used to as Netflix, Amazon Prime, and other filmmakers and streaming services have gotten into the sports documentary film world. And I think Hard Knocks in season is more interesting to me because the storylines and the players are actually players that you know.
Yeah.
And it's not just random practice squad guy from Grand Valley State who might make the roster as he has a big day at practice. Like, I just don't have interest anymore.
You say that.
But that's true, though. Also, you guys, we have social media. We have Instagram. We have TikTok. We have Twitter. We can literally see so much reality TV within our palm of our hand on our phones every day now. I think that's probably lessened the appeal of Hard Knocks because I will agree with you, Will, 100%. It's not as appealing. It's not. That's why I kind of hope they try to do something different with it this year. I doubt they will. But I can always hope. I'll give him a chance.
Yeah.
Because I also want to see if we get a cameo from DA.
Todd Downing.
It's my last.
I have to have an interest
legend.
in things. Yeah, like a couple people I'm interested in to watch anything.
Man,
I keep forgetting he's over there.
And Nathaniel Hackett.
The
offensive
coordinator.
Hackett.
Nathaniel.
Who couldn't hack it in Denver?
There was one guy I was super interested in when the Raiders had theirs, and that was Ollie. Ronald Ollie from Last Chance
from
U.
Nicholls State at Last Chance
U.
East Mississippi.
I love Last Chance.
That was cool. Last Chance U is awesome.
I love that show.
Oh,
are they done with that?
They're done with football. The basketball one at East LA the past 2 years has been outstanding.
It's hard to find coaches that'll just holler at kids like that at the junior college level. Like, there's only so many of those people that are right on the line of infuriating.
I think the Last Chance U basketball, I was a little sad when they switched away from football. But it has been better than football.
Is it like Last Chance
so
AAU? Like, is it like just a team or is it actually a college?
It's still JUCO, East LA Community College.
Yeah.
Oh. No, nobody. Nobody's better than the Last Chance U head coach, man. I'm looking for his name right now.
Yes.
Jason Brown, the Independence coach.
And the counselor, the gal that was the counselor, she was the GOAT.
From the first season.
She was the GOAT. I was like, if I wasn't doing this job, that would be the hardest job in America, but I'd love to do it. She was so awesome.
So good with them boys, man. God, so that coach got a new job because I can't tell from his social media. He goes off.
Oh, you're talking about Jason Brown.
You're talking about
Jason Brown.
You're talking about Independence.
dude right there. Yeah, him.
Independence Community College, not Independence High School in Thompson
Right.
Station.
He's
Buddy Stevens, the head coach you're talking about for the East Mississippi Lions.
Ooh, when he got in that fight with the referee, that
so
referee was
good.
playing no games, man. He went up. You always know when old white men want to fight because they'll try to do that belly push. They'll run up and put that belly on somebody. I was like, oh, he means business.
Robert in 30 years.
If you see me run up and I put my belly on somebody, it's about to go down. I'm telling you.
Who's the Browns head coach again, or offensive line coach back in the day?
The one Ramon thought was dead.
Yeah.
Wiley, he meant business with that belly push, man.
You know, back in the day, we didn't even stretch.
Bob Wiley.
Bob Wiley. Man, do not rest in peace. He is not.
He good out
Passed
here,
away,
man. He's
Ramon.
above earth right now,
He
man.
is.
Above ground.
You in
Alive
peace.
and well.
He's still hooting.
Oh.
In peace.
That was an entertainment in
Oh
itself.
my God. Well, guess what I saw on social media yesterday?
Oh, gosh.
Beetlejuice.
Oh, okay. You did?
He was, yeah.
Not on the Twitter
he was
account in the sky.
Looked like he had on
There's no Twitter in heaven. Who am I kidding?
a Lawrence Taylor jersey on too. So I was just like, he's
That's
alive and well,
funny.
man.
They're listening.
They
Yes.
are
The
listening.
algorithm
Yes,
will
they
always come
are.
around and get you.
Now we're gonna see old white men pushing their bellies on people fighting.
Yeah.
Boy, I oughta. And the fist is only one fist is ever balled up too. It's not the other one. It's behind their back.
Right, and they got that thing all the way back. They got that thing wound up like Donkey Kong, man. It's just going like a windmill
Like
back
a
there.
like a rip string, man.
They got one shot, one opportunity.
You sound like a man,
got
Robert,
one
that
shot.
used Donkey Kong as his character on Super Smash Bros.
Now I ain't gonna lie, I did use B down a couple times. I did try to juggle people in Smash Brothers, but I was a Samus.
I was
main.
also a Samus guy. You know ball.
Yeah, that's how you know somebody over there playing with Samus. You know ball.
Who is your Super Smash Bros character? At Ramon Kayla Will. Let us know.
Mine was Mario. Always.
You, of course.
That is so middle of the road. That is
Like,
the most
Mine's
Ramon
the most
thing.
mid
Oh, surprise.
character you could use. No Captain Falcon, no Samus, no Link, no Kirby.
Link was up.
Kirby,
There
if
was
you
Link.
used Kirby, you were a menace to
yeah, you
society.
were. You
It was
were.
on site. If you like just freaking, you would like absorb a character
Turn into
and
stone.
then drop them off the side of the map. Be like, fight started because guys chose Kirby in Super Smash Bros. And then 64.
And there's
Link
Ramon
was
going, I like Luigi.
Yup.
Yeah.
And Princess. And Princess.
Hey, don't hate on Princess.
Princess is the,
Peach was-
the stuff.
Peach was
Right?
sneaky.
Yeah, she was.
Peach was
man.
fine.
If you're an average player, no
Peach
big
was
deal.
fine. Only someone that was really good at the game could use Peach and win.
I was good at the game.
It's kind of like Ness. If
My other
somebody was
thing-
really good at
if
Ness,
someone knew how to do the little lightning thing with
PK
Ness,
Thunder.
oh my god, that
Man,
just
you bringing
brought
out the
back,
nerd
I
side
know,
of me.
man.
PK
But
Thunder.
the one I used the most was probably behind Samus was Pikachu.
Pikachu.
I was a big Pokemon
I hated
kid.
Pikachu.
dude, who you talking to? I love it.
Pokemon is still
was-
a thing.
It is.
Oh, of course,
It ain't never gone nowhere.
It is never going
That
away.
is like the greatest invention of all time. I mean, I never was into it. My nephews are, though.
Yeah.
My goodness.
If,
Oh,
if
it's
Pokemon
awesome.
was real, I'd quit this job right now. I'd go be a master, and I would be catching them all.
Let me find out you a furry on weekends.
Do you
man.
buy
Not
those
even the
packs?
same thing.
Do you buy packs of cards and
Easy.
just
Oh
go
yeah,
through
I
them?
get packs. I get
Oh, now I know what to get you for
You
Christmas.
just got Bucks
Perfect.
cards.
Perfect.
Yeah, you just got Bucks cards, right?
I did. I acquired them because he was late to work one day. So
There probably wasn't one thing in it.
there was. He had
No,
See?
he
that's
had all
actually pretty
kind of
cool.
cards
Did
because
he?
he was buying.
Looked really awesome.
When he was a kid, he was traveling all over the country. Like he had French cards. He had all kind of European
Oh.
Pokemon cards. It was fancy. They're very nice.
That's interesting. Wow, Buck.
most likable and most relatable thing we've said about Buck in a long time.
I
Who
know.
joins us at 9:20, by the way. This
That's
morning.
right.
Coming up, Coach Dave McGinnis stops by. He's not awake yet. Don't worry. Coach Mack remembers Rob Baronis' 60-yard field goal, the highlight we heard yesterday from Titans radio when the Titans beat the Colts back on December 3rd, 2006. Plus, Bud Adams' Hall of Fame case, as he is named a semifinalist for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Coming up next with Titans radio's head coach on 104.5 The Zone.
It's Ramon Foster for Zen Sports, and Zen Sports is the new sports book in Tennessee. Zen Sports brand is focused on making sports betting better today and always, and they do it in so many ways simply by giving you cash. Their cash back rewards, the welcome bonus. Just joining the app. You can earn 5% back of your bets on the first 15 days of betting on Zen Sports. The cash reward programs, too. Earn up to 3% of your betting volume back as a cash deposit to your account every month. This happens every month, as I just told you, on the first of every month. You can count on it. And the referral rewards program, too. Earn 3% of your referral betting volume as a reward for the first 6 months of betting on Zen Sports. As a cash deposit back to your account, I've told you, just straight cash right back to you. And the best thing about them, too, is easy to use. You can search and sort bets easily. Set your favorite team, easiest experience possible when making or building parlays. And you can withdraw within 24 hours or deposit instantly. 24/7 customer support, too. And easy to track rewards. No gimmicky promotional bets that look too good to be true but rarely are on other places that you may bet. Again, I've told you before, why waste your money in Vegas when they have the best sports betting app here in Tennessee, Zen Sports. And if you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-889-9789. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 years or older and present in Tennessee to bet.
Thursday morning is the best time at 7:20. I hate the things Robert Walsh tells me right before we turn on our microphones sometimes. It's Ramon, Kalen, Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. This music could only mean Coach Dave McGinnis, Titans Radio's head coach, is here. What's up, Coach Mack? How are you?
Will, good morning. Good morning, guys. Will, don't be mean to Bert.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Coach Mack, do you have your bowling shoes ready for Split Happens tonight with Buck Rising?
I'm looking forward to that. I mean, it was a nice event last year. Of course, it raises money this year for a really good cause. But it's great this time of year too to get out with the fans. I did a dinner event last night with a lot of fans, a lot of Titans talk.
Nice.
You can feel it starting to gin up. Here we go. After the 4th of July, it starts kind of the train picks up speed on the track a little bit. But anyway, yes, I'm looking forward to that tonight. That'll be fun. There's a lot of good sub-stories to this whole thing. Starting with Joe Hunt needs to keep it in the alley this year.
Between the navigational beacons. It just needs to be coachable.
Yeah.
It is my last name, so maybe I can give him a pointer or two. Coach Mack, we talked last week about your taste testing of Rhett Bryan's brisket. Do you have a recap for us of how this taste test went as far as how Rhett did with this?
Well, first of all, I drove up to the station and he had some. He told me the night before he'd had some ready for me, and so I drove up to the station to get it. And let me tell you something. First of all, brisket is not easy to do. Mm-hmm. And you have to understand and learn. Of course, I mean, it's a statewide tradition in Texas. You grow up with brisket on all kind of things, but for a first time, and he's got that Smoky Joe pellet smoker that they make in Oklahoma, and it was outstanding. Wow, for a first run at it. I mean, the only problem I had was that I didn't get it quick enough, because he did a tremendous job. And if anybody up there got to taste it, but I told him that was, I am really looking forward to the evolution of Rhett on the smoker, because that first shot out of the box, outstanding.
Mac, I didn't think your West Texas ways would allow you to try a first-time brisket smoker, man.
Well, it's Rhett,
okay.
and Rhett's my guy.
That makes sense.
And he prepared it, and it was. Look, Ramon, did you get any of it?
I didn't. I was out of town then, Mac Attack.
Well, look, I'm just telling you, when you guys see Rhett in there, I mean, he's got some grill master to him, because it was delicious. It really was. I mean, he did a tremendous job on it, and I'm looking forward to it again. And as I told him last time, I just don't want to be the last one to taste it next year, please.
Coach Dave McGinnis is with us this morning on our boat, Kalen Will. Coach Mack, we played it's been so cool going through some Titans radio archives with Rhett on our Wednesday meetings with him and going through some of my favorite Titans games, some of his favorites, just some of the best individual performances that we've talked about. And yesterday we went through the moment that I remember made me more of a Titans fan, genuinely. On December 3rd, 2006, when Rob Baronis hit a 60-yard field goal with 7 seconds left to end a losing streak against Peyton Manning and those Indianapolis Colts. That game was cold, and kickers weren't kicking footballs 60 yards as much then as they are now. What do you remember the most about that game?
Well, that season, started off, of course, 2004 and 2005 were really tough seasons because that was a big salary cap purge.
Right.
Those 2 years where we lost, where they had tried to keep that Super Bowl team together as long as they could, extending contracts, and did a good job with it. But sooner or later, it comes due, and we had to clean the roster in 2004, 2005. And so 2006 was kind of our climb back, but we started off the season with some early losses. We'd lost 5 ball games in a row, and the only one we were ever really out of in those first 5. And that was the off season that we'd gotten, that group, David Thornton and Chris Hope, Kevin Mawai, Kerry Collins. That was when we had brought those free agents in to fill in some really important spots. We had drafted Stephen Tulloch. I mean, we started off and, drafted Vince Young. So that was starting to get the rebuild going with what we'd been through in 2004, 2005. The only game we were out of early in the season was the Charger game. That was not a good game. Every other game was a close one. But the week prior to that, we had beaten the Giants here in a crazy ball game. If you'll remember that ball game, Will, where we beat the Giants here, where Pac-Man Jones had 2 interceptions and returned a punt for a touchdown, and Matthias Kiwanuka had Vince Young on a sack and then just let him go. And it was a really, really wild game, and we ended up coming back from behind and winning that game.
Yes.
And then you go into the Indy game, and they had beaten. Indy had a 7-game winning streak over the Titans. That was the Code Blue game, the first Code Blue game we'd ever had, where they brought out all the baby blues and everybody. The whole stadium was Code Blue, if you'll remember. It was cold. I think it was right around 40 degrees, in that ball game. But there was a lot that went on as far as the preparation for that ball game. And of course, look, anytime you played during those years where you game planned and had to build something to defensively to try to contain Peyton Manning, you never were going to completely crush him, but you had to find a way to contain him. And they were a good team, and so it was one hell of a ball game. And we fell behind early in that ball game, came back, and had just come off of that week before a huge comeback against the Giants that had we were kind of starting to get things rolling. That the season was picking up steam, and our dudes were healthy, and our new guys that we had picked up in free agency were really starting to assimilate into what was to become a really good ball team in 2008. But anyway, we go down to the last kick. And it's cold, but the whole Code Blue thing, Will. You were there. You remember. That stadium was electric. It was just, and the closer the game got, it went insane. And I can remember, Alan Lowry and of course, Fish on the headset. When we got the ball down there, there's going to be. We took the time down on the clock, and it was a 61-yarder. There was no exaggeration on it, and with all kind of confidence, Fish and Alan Lowry, sent that field goal unit out there. And the thing that I remember about it is that the game was close, and so at that point in the ball game, anytime you're kicking something like that, the strategy part of it, as far as you have to be sure, because you've got your field goal protection unit in there, and so you don't have your smaller, faster athletes on the field. And they can, if the thing is short or if it's hit not good, well, they can return it. And so you have that aspect of it. But Baronis went out there, and when he hit that thing, you could hear it when he hit it. And, it sounded like, he had gotten every bit of it right in the sweet spot. And when that thing went through, that, first of all, we beat the Colts. Second of all, we were making a comeback through the season. Third of all, it was a Code Blue game. Everything was just right. That stadium erupted. That really started to propel that football team back, from the rebuild in 2004, 2005. But that win, and plus, he beat the Colts for the first time in 7 games, and it was an accomplishment back in the day when you could beat a Peyton Manning Colts team. It really was, because that guy was a surgeon, and their offense at that time was really, really something. They weren't a great defensive team then, but they were really, really something offensively. And it was the thing that I remember. It was LP Field then, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It was the stadium lost their mind, which is, as a coach and a player, when your home stadium loses their minds on a last-second win, best feeling in the world.
It was. I promise I'm not going to hijack this entire conversation back.
But
when we talk 2006 Titans, I feel some type of way, because that was the team for me that kind of lit the flame for me of like, oh, I need to really invest in this team. Like, this is something that's pretty cool, right? Because, Mac, as you know, there were a lot of diehard SEC and just college football fans of this town who bought in right away. It's almost like that Vince Young Pro Bowl season in 06, and you had the Giants comeback win that was unbelievable. You had the Cardinals last second back of the end zone Kenny Britt game. Like in that time span, you had some iconic moments that kind of I don't want to say relit the flame, but in some ways kind of started a new era of Titans football around that time.
Well, it really did because, and as I said, and it all stemmed from the genesis of it. It all stemmed from the fact that a huge effort had been made to keep that Super Bowl team together as long as they could. And by extending those contracts out sooner or later, I mean, the National Football League is very, very cyclical. And sooner or later, if you extend contracts out, you're going to end up paying at the end of it somehow. And most of the time, you're going to lose some players. And that's what happens. It's just it's a cycle that you go through. But you're 100% correct. And we could feel it coming too, even though we did have success early in the year. We were playing good football.
Right.
We were playing good football. And those new guys that we brought in, some very, very key free agents. You know, as I said, with Chris Hope and David Thornton and Kevin Mawai and Kerry Collins, we brought those guys in here, and then they were real contributors. And we added to, see, the guy that we kind of built it around, you know, we brought Kyle Van Den Bosch in, but the guy we built it around that was, you know, at his time had earned his big contract was Keith Bullock. And so Keith had been there through that rebuild stuff, but he was the dude that, you know, at least you had some guys, and he was the one guy that, you know, we said when that salary cap purge came on, you know, he's starting to reach the apex and is going to develop as to what they knew he would be. You know, Floyd Reese knew he would be that kind of player. Yeah, even though, you know, when he took him down there at the bottom of the first round. And so we started to add players around him, and sooner or later, then all of a sudden, you can catch fire a little bit if everybody is healthy and starts producing. And it was a great feeling, but that was the genesis of that 2008 team that ended up winning 10 in a row and went 13-3, and then we're not going to talk about the Ravens.
Ever.
Yeah, Bert.
Coach, speaking of the Colts, and I remember when I got in here, the talk was, they had lost, Titans had lost 11 straight against Andrew Luck and the Colts, and then that changed on that Monday Night Football game when Jacoby Brissett became the starting quarterback at that point. And then obviously the tides have turned a little bit in the Titans' favor in this series. But bringing back to the Colts in that quarterback position, Coach, have you been surprised since Andrew Luck retired, the instability of the quarterback position?
Well, first of all, let me say this. I've been involved with Titans football as a coach and now as a broadcaster going on my 16th year. So any trouble the Colts have at the quarterback position bothers me none.
Yeah.
Okay?
Amen.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, and so, but here, let's say this to your point, Caleb. You know, in all honesty, they had a run, okay, with Peyton Manning, and then all of a sudden, when he goes to the end of his career, then they're bad enough for 1 year that Andrew Luck is a generational quarterback, and they take him number one, and he was fabulous. I mean, he really was. And so when you have those two kind of back to back. First round legitimate dudes that are linchpins at the quarterback position, well then absolutely you're going to start having some sustained success. And so you knew it couldn't last. Now the Andrew Luck thing, let's just say this, that ended prematurely.
Yep.
His career ended prematurely, and I think that put them back. I think him retiring the way he did took them by surprise as much as it took everybody else by surprise around the league. And at the quarterback position, they've been trying to catch up to that moment ever since.
Sure.
They have been. Matt, and that's always fascinating. Kayla asked me the question earlier when we were talking about DeAndre Hopkins, not that we're going to predict or even ask you to predict where he's going to go to, but the idea of opportunities. Do you go for stats or do you go for a Super Bowl ready team, Coach Mack? And I just wanted to ask you just real quick, how hard is it to actually predict who's going to win the Super Bowl? You think you're stacked as a team? And
you can't predict it.
You can't.
No, you can't predict it because, you know, the National Football League, there's one huge factor in the National Football League that is synonymous with professional sports, but at the same time, it's in a category of its own because your chance for injury is so great, and anything can happen because of the nature of the game. I mean, it's not a contact sport; it's a collision sport. Yeah. You know, at the professional level, and so you never know what's going to happen. And so, you know, the fate of any teams, we've experienced it here. Other teams have experienced it across the league. You know, with a rash of injuries, that can flip your whole script. And so, trying to predict how that will come out. At the start of the year, you can look at rosters and say they look like they're set pretty well and they look healthy, and you can't predict any of that. And then plus, there are games that turn on a dime in this league so quickly. And you've got so many 3-point and 1-score games in this league just because of the way the whole process is set up with the draft picks, and the worst teams get the higher draft picks throughout an entire 7-round draft, all of it. Anyway. It's so close. It's hard to predict. You can say who looks like they're going to be, but predicting who a Super Bowl winner is going to be is just about like those mock drafts, and you know how much I like those.
We love mocking mock drafts here on this show and any other. Coach Dave McGinnis, our guest this morning on our Mo and Kalen Will. Coach Mac, we could do an hour just talking about like 06 to 2010, and maybe will one day. But we appreciate the time as always.
Guys, love being on with you every Thursday morning. Looking forward to the event tonight. See a lot of the fans. It'll be a lot of fun. See you guys.
Absolutely.
See you, Coach.
Yes, sir. There's Coach Dave McGinnis with us this morning on the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline. And I'll just maybe sit out one of the other interviews we have since I'm just talking way too much.
That was good. I could.
You're what's it called? Recapping your memories as a child.
That 06 year must have been like a great year in general. But what were we at UT that year? I think we Outback Bowl. I think the next year at SEC
that was one of the back-to-back Outback Bowl seasons.
So that was great,
Penn State Outback Bowl.
Great growth time there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then we were Wisconsin the year after when they lost to LSU in the SEC title, but that Titans team started 0-5.
Yeah.
0-5.
Jeez.
And I think the interesting thing is you look at the attendance numbers of those games at home. The Titans were 2-5 playing the Houston Texans, 69,143 in the stadium.
Jeez.
Baltimore as a 2-6 team, 69,143. New York, November 26th, 69,143. They sold out like literally every game that season in LP Field. This team at that point was full of Titans fans. It was an SEC football environment every single Sunday.
I was just going to ask you this, and I kind of want to play a little devil's advocate here real quick, Will.
Please do.
Was those early 2000 crowds better than the 2010s and 2020s crowds?
In my opinion,
Titans
they
fans, were. And they were.
This city
Is it
wasn't
because of phones, maybe, or because of newness?
Well, because people hadn't moved in droves to Nashville yet.
Okay.
People going to NFL games at LP Field at that point were Nashville natives. They were Titans fans.
Yeah.
We weren't an attraction for visiting fans to come to yet. Mm-hmm. And we weren't an attraction for other people who aren't from here to move, except for hockey, because you saw so many Pred Wings at the beginning of the Nashville Predators because the auto industry here grew so substantially in Nashville that a lot of workers from Detroit were in Nashville. So the Preds would play the Red Wings, and that was the first team that would completely infiltrate a Nashville sporting event. You'd have Red Wings Preds, and it'd be like 60% Red Wings fans, and then the Gaylord Entertainment Center. Wasn't the case for the Titans as much in Nashville. Now, Memphis, separate conversation. But Titans are playing 16 road games in Memphis that season.
It was weird when I came here in 2017, and I'm used to, up in Seattle and like LP Field and just the craziness that is just Seahawks fans there. Like you barely could get a ticket up there, and covering even the Cleveland Browns and like Cincinnati and all that. But then when I came here the first 2 years in 2017, 2018, like I would go to these games and the away crowds would populate the entire Nissan Stadium. I'm going, what is going on here? Obviously, that was a time where we were seeing the transfer before Mike Vrabel. But it is very much so changed, though, now. In 2022, this last year, when I was covering games, man, I looked around and I was like, okay, here we go. Here we go, Titans fans. Representing. The two-tone blue.
And I think that's the reason I asked that question, because when we came and played down here, it was Thursday night game, I think, or whatever it was. It was just
said it was rowdy.
Oh
yeah.
Yeah.
Rowdy.
Mm-hmm.
SEC game.
Rowdy.
Yeah. And it's okay for a SEC environment here to change. I mean, this isn't as much of an SEC first city as it was then.
Right.
This is an NFL city.
Yeah.
When you have an NFL team, you are an NFL city immediately. That's true. Even if you don't have an NFL team, most places outside of the South are NFL cities. But certainly, it was an interesting time, and I think one of the goals of this organization should be to recreate the atmosphere of those teams, where you were selling out the stadium for 2 and 6 teams, and it was loud, and it was full of your fans. Hard to do in today's NFL and in today's Nashville. Coming up, I'm going to give you 2 options of football content to view this offseason. Are you more interested in the Quarterbacks documentary on Netflix or Hard Knocks? We'll ask that coming up next on Ramon Kayla and Will.
Buying a diamond, if you're not properly educated, is hard. If you're not careful, you can overpay big time. Small variations in diamonds' quality specs can make a huge difference in its value. That's why I always recommend Genesis Diamonds. Genesis Diamonds education is second to none. They will teach you the secrets of the industry. They will explain how diamonds are priced on the world market. Their non-commissioned experts will make you a savvy buyer, even if you decide to shop somewhere else. These days, this is so important, especially if you're considering buying a lab-grown diamond. Let Genesis reveal the truth behind the recent trend and show you all the information on how lab-growns are being overpriced in so many other places. Bottom line, Genesis is your source for the best information as well as the best value for both natural and lab-grown diamonds. Whether you're buying a diamond for the first time or upgrading it to a large, rare investment-grade diamond, Genesis will make sure you don't make a mistake. Genesis Diamond, where the focus is always on honesty, transparency, education, quality, and value. Don't buy a diamond until you learn the ins and outs from Genesis. They're located in Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Continuing your Thursday morning on our Mo and Kayla and Will. Happy Friday, Junior. On 104.5 The Zone. We're powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. 615-737-1045. And coming up in 15 minutes, a headline you may have missed in college sports that could signify the next stage of college athletics. We'll get to that coming up at 8 o'clock. But right now, we've got quarterbacks on Netflix. We've got Hard Knocks that will begin filming when the New York Jets begin training camp on July the 19th. Which are you more interested in? Do you care about watching quarterbacks?
I kind of want to see it because this is one of the first times I said no initially. That was my real answer. It's like, nah,
we
I don't
all
want to see
say no
it.
initially, right? We're like, we're not going to do that.
I don't know if I was kind of in on quarterbacks initially.
Because
I like it.
I don't like fads, so I was like, no, I'm not going to do it.
That's where I was. I feel like nobody want to hear about a freaking quarterback again.
Yeah.
Like that's where I was, and I was like, you know what? I'm probably gonna check it out because I think y'all said it goes through tiers. They did a upper, middle, and a lower guy, and I kind of want to see what it's like for those guys. Like, is every single quarterback cocky and conceited? Because that's what I think. You know what I'm saying? As a player, I'd be like, oh, the quarterbacks. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know we need them, and they know we need them too. So I was just like, I don't want to see any more of this, but I kind of do now.
The F&M Bake Chat, don't you spoil it for us.
Please
don't you spoil it for us if you've seen this series. I was about to get into it last night, and then I was like, no, I have to be wide awake to be able to,
dive into
all of this. But I'm always interested if there was somebody I had covered or whatever. I'm always going to try to watch something like that. And with Marcus Mariota being a part of this Netflix thing, I'm like, let's see a little bit of what Marcus has to deliver, because we knew him here, but you only were able to get so much into Marcus Mariota. He's a quiet guy, right? I'm a little surprised he's done this series. And then the other guys, I know Will is a big fan of Kirk Cousins.
Oh, it's my favorite quarterback.
So I'm sure he's watching for him.
I love it.
I'm interested in Patrick Mahomes just because of. It's Patrick Mahomes, right? He's one of the best right now to do it. So I'll watch it. I will.
Kirk Cousins, the most relatable quarterback in the National Football League. I'm serious. He is. He is the everyday man.
Not.
Yes, he is. He's not athletic, first of all. He looks like a normal just dad. If you walked up right now at an Applebee's and you saw Kirk Cousins sitting at a table next to the salad bar, you wouldn't blink twice. You'd be like, yeah, it's about right.
But does that make him relate? I mean, you don't really
because real
know
people
him.
go to Applebee's. They're not going to steakhouses getting $15,000 suits tailored for the NFL awards like I'm sure Patrick Mahomes is doing. Like, it's not Marcus Mariota. He's athletic. He's fast. He's, got this beautiful wife. Like, no. Kirk Cousins is a normal American dad in the Midwest. He is the perfect representation of what Minnesota dads are doing.
That's the perfect superstar, though.
Yes.
The one that can just go sit down at a regular
He just looks boring to
American establishment.
Boring
I love that he's boring.
I guarantee you this, though. Life ain't boring. Guarantee he's not flying a commercial jets out here. You know what I'm saying? So he's got like the best of both worlds where he can sneak into an establishment and just eat by himself. Probably like, man, who the hell?
I get that part.
I think that's him. Nah, that's not him. He wouldn't be at Applebee's
I get
with
that
me.
part.
Can I have permission to dog on somebody real quick?
As you should.
As long as it's not me. Sure.
No, it's definitely not you.
Okay,
it was at the
perfect.
ESPYs last night. And I think this is a real case of the man makes the clothes and not the clothes make the man. Patrick Mahomes is the least swaggy, cool dude of all time.
Yeah.
I've never seen somebody wear an outfit that cool and still look like a total derp. Like, he just, the dude is like a fine enough guy. Like, I feel bad he's got to deal with all this stuff with his wife getting heat and his brother getting stuff. But, like, the dude has zero coolness. Like, if you got to meet him, nice to meet you. Like, he just looks like he would have a pocket protector. He would be a perfect shot-for-shot remake of the Taylor Swift song, Say Yes, or whatever, where she's like, she wears...
Love Story.
Yeah, Love Story. Shot-for-shot remake.
You belong with me. That's
You belong
my bad.
with me.
That's a demerit.
They're neighbors.
My girlfriend is going to roast me for that later.
Where shot-for-shot remake, put Patrick Mahomes in there, where he's wearing the geeky glasses, like, I wear T-shirts. And it would be just fine. Taylor Swift and Patrick Mahomes, properly rated. Not overly rated, not underrated. They're properly rated.
I saw that with his chest meat out a little bit too, I think, in that suit. And I was
What
just like,
chest? He's like a middle school boy, man.
I was just like, Kelsey makes it look better. And I know y'all probably
yeah.
dress the same way, but I've seen him even do stuff in those Allstate commercials. He's getting paid, or State Farm commercials, he's getting paid boatloads of cash. I'm like, those shoes don't go with that outfit, Patrick. You could have picked a low top shoe, right? You don't need the big boat shoe right here.
But our buddy Ron Slay said it best on Twitter, I think I saw last night, that when you got big bucks or you're famous, they think they can dress however they want. And guess what? Well, you can because it's a free country. But at the same time, that doesn't mean you look good.
You don't get these social media jokes.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Did y'all see Deion Dawkins? Big boy alert?
Yes,
did.
we did.
I was proud and upset at the same time.
I watched the
saw
ESPYs
that.
probably in a decade.
I just saw Twitter.
I saw
I didn't
Twitter,
watch
too.
it either. I just saw the clips.
Fair.
I get you confident, my bro.
But also, man, we can't be showing up looking like a velvet overstuffed fruit roll-up.
Feel me?
My dude looked like they just filled it up, man, like a trash bag out here, Dion. Like, we got
Gushers?
to come on, man.
Like at the family pool, fine,
Yup.
okay? On vacation with your people's eating cool too.
Sure.
With all these cameras around, nah, bro.
You gonna have that bean bowl out looking like you about to eat a bowl of cereal out of that belly button?
And
Like, his belly was like out there, bro.
And it'd be different if this was your thing, okay? Like Bam Bam Bigelow, okay, cool. We know you take your shirt off, okay?
And he had the flame tats on the
You feel me?
skull, so
You
that
see what
worked.
I'm saying? Like, we get that, but like nobody knew you were a shirt off guy in public. Like, you got to be known as a shirt off guy in public, and I didn't know he was a shirt off guy in public, man.
And now I ain't here to bash on nobody's wife, but I'm gonna slide one in real quick.
Wow.
Oh, boy.
She looked like the bartender off Shrek. Like, you know when they
Fiona? Oh no, the big German girl.
yeah, with the mole.
Oh,
Yeah,
no.
go look
I
up
didn't say
Deion
that.
Dawkins' girlfriend, and then look up the bartender
Lord.
off Shrek. They're almost identical.
Helga, I think was her name.
Give him crap because I got crap for Big Unit yesterday calling him a big ugly man, and I got more crap from you guys than
Bro,
that.
you should be better than. We
I
expect
just- I
more
need to
out
be
of
better.
you.
No, but I just don't know how to respond to Helga. Like that's I don't even know where to begin with.
She
that.
went full Pataki. Like,
I'm most worried that Robert sees a female woman and thinks Shrek.
or one of the things that come to his mind, sturdy. Well, that's a sturdy woman, right?
she cannot be moved up her axis. She's dating an O-lineman. She knows the power stances and whatnot.
The powers.
I hate you, Bert. I hate you,
Probably
man.
would block better than Dennis Daly. 615-737-1045,
I could
the
have said
number.
something there, but wasn't going to.
And in hour 3 at halftime of the show already this morning, a collective association has formed in college sports. Is this the future of the NCAA or maybe the end of the NCAA? Coming up next, Sir Ramon Kayla will.
What the heck's going on? It's just about 8 o'clock from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Robert Walsh. Some Pro Football Hall of Fame news as longtime Oilers and Titans owner Bud Adams is named a semifinalist in the Coach Contributor category for the Pro Football Hall of Fame class of 2024. Former Oilers return man Billy White Shoes Johnson and longtime scout C.O. Braccato also advanced for consideration. And some big movement in the betting world yesterday as DeAndre Hopkins signing with the Titans moved from a plus 500 to a favorite at minus 300. Do what you will with that information. And in college baseball, Tennessee right-handed pitcher Chase Burns announced he's transferring to Wake Forest. On his Instagram yesterday, the number 9 overall prospect in the 2024 Major League Draft is headed to Winston-Salem. Burns went 5-3 last year with a 4.25 ERA. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Two hours down, 2 more to go on a beautiful Thursday morning in Nashville, Tennessee. Welcome in to Ramon, Kayla, and Will. We're powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors, and we have got a full house with Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, Robert Walsh, keeping us between the navigational beacons, we think.
No.
I'm Will Bowling. 615
Knocked us off course.
737-1045 if you would like to bring the ship back to the surface or the beacons or
It's definitely sinking.
somewhere else.
I gotta apologize to Young Dawkins. So he is a shirt-off guy. I just didn't know that.
Okay.
He's a shirt-off guy at all times. Bert, you suck. Okay.
Have you ever seen their Instagram lives they do as a Bills locker room?
No.
They'll just have music playing and start dancing, and everybody will. Man, I always am envious of these guys because I cannot dance. In a cool fashion. I went to Cotillion so I can like foxtrot and do like the ballroom
let's
stuff.
go.
Look at the brain on Bird.
That is not cool. Ain't nobody ever been like, look at that boy foxtrot over there. I need to get him to take me on a date.
Bring the ladies to the yard.
No one. But when I watch people like dance in a cool fashion where I'm like, man, I just cannot get down like that. But then you see big old Dion walk in there with his belly, and it's always like Santa Claus jiggling like, ho, ho. Imagine
right?
Santa Claus saying like, ho, ho, ho.
Yeah.
The way his belly moves, that's how he comes in the shot every time.
That's
and he
pretty good.
can get down. That dude can dance.
Does a tatted up chest, like body, chest, stomach, meat, like make up for a shirt too? Because I feel like that's what he's done. Like he's paid so much money for tattoos that he's just like, I'm
he
gonna
wants to
show this off.
It don't cover up the fat, though. Arn Anderson,
Right.
a famous member of the Four Horsemen with Ric Flair, used to say, fat looks better tan than pale.
Well, that's facts.
So
Very
Arn
true,
Anderson
too.
would
Facts.
always, he was never in the best shape, but he would get tan enough that his fat kind of looked uniform.
Yeah.
So
Right.
it's like, oh, this guy's got some muscle on his skin.
Had a breakthrough is
Yeah.
what you call
He could
that.
just he could paint on a tuxedo or tat on a tuxedo
Have y'all
or
seen
something.
this stuff on social
Yeah.
media where people being put to sleep to get tattoos?
Yeah,
Oh,
What?
I don't know how I feel about that.
that's scary.
I think who was it?
like that.
Was it Sauce Gardner that did it? Somebody
It
recently. It's
might
been
have
a lot of guys
It might have
doing
been
it.
Sauce.
They've been put to sleep to
much
get
sauce.
tattoos. It's like 8 people tattooing you at one time.
Oof.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's a
I don't have the facilities for that.
How
big
much do you
man.
think people spend on tattoos? If you were gonna collect everybody in the world and say how much do you feel like people? Because it's a lot.
it's a
I'm
lot.
gonna tell you
Tattoos
right
in the
now.
industry people probably don't talk
Yes.
about.
And it's addicting.
For full body, it depends on who you're going to, because these artists are different too.
Sure.
Each one is different. A session for somebody I knew that just wanted like a forearm sleeve
Mm-hmm.
was like $2,500 or more.
Whoa.
Yeah, like just to book some people, you got to put like $1,000 down. Yeah, there's differences. So those people that's doing like the putting you under to get tattoos,
That's
it's
even more.
probably about 20 grand probably is what I think, especially with the anesthesia.
Oh my gosh.
The anesthesia that they got to
that
do.
stuff's
Nah, I get one in a parking lot before I paid that.
My first one was definitely by a biker dude.
Anesthesia sounds
you
like a nice
serious?
girl.
Straight up.
anesthesia.
Straight up.
That's a beautiful name.
Yeah, until you go to sleep.
Sadaquoi Steel.
Gosh.
But yeah, that's a new
Robert
trend.
knows where I'm going.
It's a new trend. We don't know if we'll stick around.
Yeah, I don't know how it can stick around. I'm not being put under and having 8 people work on me to do
Nah,
a full
probably
body.
not.
Max Crosby did it.
Too many needles
okay.
that I can't
Yeah.
oversee.
Yeah.
Like if you're that close to me with a needle, I got to see where that needle is and how badly you might be messing up something that is on my body now permanently.
Lord, no. When they go to take blood and I'm at the doctor's, I've got my eyes shut, my hand over it, and it's always the nicest woman.
Oh, sure.
But she's been doing it for forever.
Trying
and
to distract you.
she
It's like,
ma-
nah, you're not getting
Yeah.
one over on me.
she makes it seem very routine, and I'm like, come on, we both know why we're here. Just take the blood. Come on. I don't want to look at it.
I like pump up my vein. I'm like, here's the good one. Let's go. Come on now. You see that sucker?
Here's the good one.
Hard
I do
flex.
that too sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, hey, that's a good vein right there, ain't it? Yeah, well, I'm going to try to pull this up for you. It's like 8 people working around them.
That's terrible.
That's kind of
I don't see any
weird.
sense.
You're still going to be in pain when you wake up.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, it's a new thing that they're doing right now. Bunch of athletes this offseason have done it.
That's a hell of a upsell. It's like, we could give you a tattoo, but also, have you thought about taking a nap during it?
Yeah, CD Lamb is on this list. I felt like there was a Titan that did it too this offseason. I'll have to go through
If
this
there
group.
is, I'm going to ask him about
Yeah,
it.
no, for real.
Ugh.
For real. It's
No thanks.
But if you're doing all of this in one session, I have it posted up in here. Y'all can't see this, but it's a full back tattoo.
Because most guys, if they're getting like full tattoos that are athletes, you're doing that over the course of like 5-6+ years, right?
That's insane. T. Higgins on that
Oh,
list.
wow.
Like, they're doing full portraits. But I don't know if I'm like you,
crazy.
6 to 8 people working on your body at one time, though. And how clean is that when these people aren't doctors? And it's new, is all I'll say.
It's one thing to go under for surgery. That's scary enough.
Yeah, I'll send you the page, Kayla. I think we both can figure out who the Titan was, if I'm
Okay.
not mistaken. Yeah,
Let's do some investigating.
yeah.
Well, there's a new trend in college sports, which was announced yesterday. 7 of the biggest NIL collectives in college sports are forming the Collective Association, which seeks to advocate for student athletes, share best practices, and act as a unified voice to shape the development of the NIL market and beyond. We've got Andy Staples, who has a new home where he writes and covers college football at On3, who's going to join us here in about 15 minutes. And this interests me because the teams involved in this, guys, are the teams that have been at the forefront of name, image, and likeness and NIL collectives since this entire thing began a couple of years ago. You've got Tennessee Inspire Sports Group, which has been ranked twice now as On3's #1 NIL collective in college sports, Tennessee's. So you've got Tennessee, Georgia, Ole Miss, Florida State, USC, Michigan, and Penn State, known as the TCA. In 2022, both the SEC and Big Ten's schools combined to produce over $2 billion in NIL revenue, or just $2 billion in revenue, according to data compiled by USA Today. The NCAA says that their rules take precedent over any state law surrounding NIL. Interesting that collectives are now forming alliances with one another.
Yeah.
And I think this alliance will last longer than the quote-unquote alliance, but that was, between the Big Ten and the Pac-12.
They did too little too late, the NCAA did. When it came down to trying to control and govern this. You can't put the toothpaste back in the tube right now, Kayla, when these people know that they have the power and influence to say, he was supposed to go to Oklahoma. Guess what? He's now in Georgia or Tennessee. Heck, Penn State for that matter. It's opened up that much power and just new highways of being involved, because the thing behind all these collectives is each collective that I see on here is named either after a group or just have a bunch of alumni when it comes down to who they are that love it. They love the school in which they're representing. They're going to do all they possibly can to make sure that their school's good. I don't care if you're donating $1 a month. that's $1 towards making my university better as far as getting this player out of the transfer portal. That's where they messed up at. NCAA didn't have enough love to the business model that they were running at the time, and this is what happens. They lost focus on all things right now by simply not listening to the product, the players. Mm-hmm. They didn't listen, so this is what happens. I'm not saying that the NCAA is going to be diminished, but it's a hard sell.
It's not on a good track right now.
It's not.
I'm looking at these Georgia, Tennessee, Ole Miss, Florida State, Southern Cal, Michigan, Penn State, huge programs, right?
Oh.
I mean, huge names right now in terms of athletics in general. Where's Bama?
Bama did not get their collective crap together when everyone else did.
That's not good.
It's getting better now.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's been a big story that when Nick Saban went after Jimbo Fisher for signing the number 1 class exactly a year ago, he was not going after Jimbo Fisher and A&M. He was going after his own boosters for not getting their stuff together and figuring out a way to pay and have the same, funds. And clearly it worked because now Alabama just signed maybe the best recruiting class in the history of recruiting.
Mm-hmm. And they need, I was going to say, you don't mess around with that. I don't care if you're Alabama and you've been what you are as a powerhouse football part. You have to have something like this
especially when everybody's telling you what they're doing. Man, I can come to you. Why? He gave me $350,000.
Yeah, it's cool. You're Alabama, but Georgia's got money.
Yeah.
I think it makes sense from the rule-making procedure standpoint. And Spencer Harris, who's the executive director of House of Victory, the USC collective, is the one who says in this athletic piece about this, we just want to come together and start talking about solutions from the ground floor. Oh. And essentially, these are the teams that have been on the ground floor of NIL who are most intimately familiar with ways to circumvent the NCAA and their lack of authority over NIL and over college sports. The teams that haven't been as involved, I just think aren't as familiar with how this all works.
Yeah.
Sure.
And Alabama is not going to know the best practices because they're pretty new into the best practices.
Yeah. It's
a steady group, though.
It is. They are a steady group.
And those are schools that are good at everything.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah,
with maybe the exception of Ole Miss. I mean, they do have a national championship in baseball, obviously, in the last year. But like you talk about Georgia, non-revenue powerhouse. Yeah. Florida State, powerhouse in every sport. Yep. USC, Penn State, Michigan. Like these are name brand programs that aren't just playing football at a high level. Yet understand that the moneymaker that football is, this is something that I think could create the groundwork of wherever the NCAA ends and the next iteration of college football begins. Something like this happening and sending a shot across the bow at the NCAA and their terrible rulemaking. We may look back at this in 10 years and think that was kind of the beginning.
Yeah.
And I'm interested to see if Andy Staples agrees that is this group of 7 schools kind of the first iteration of circumventing completely the NCAA's authority and just doing your own thing in its latest form.
Yeah. I don't know. It's super fascinating how deep this dive will go, Will. And also then it becomes the story of the have and have-nots too. I think there's going to be a bigger story to begin with at some point in time. But I know this too. Some of the smaller schools around have some of the strongest alumni when it comes down to money and their reach and their want to actually compete also. And what I want to see happen at some point in time is these mid-majors. Let's go, what do we want to say? MTSU. Let's just go that route.
We're just talking about this.
MTSU. At some point in time, there's a lot of pride, whether in this state or outside the state, from people that's graduated from there, to where the coaches have to at least make the pitch to say, we need to keep our guys. What would that look like for them? Or for Austin Peay? Those types of schools that have alumni and you hope that can put in to say, you can actually come here and thrive here. What will be that school? Just like App State became a school. You know what I'm saying? Like became a competitor. Like, will there be something that keeps guys at those schools? Or will you continue to get poached by Tennessee, Vandy, Georgia, Alabama? Heck, you got Georgia pulling away from Missouri. Think about that. They pulled the number 1 wide receiver away from them.
I mean, when you have a sport where only 2% of the teams are actual national championship contenders, that's what happens.
Yep.
That's fascinating. I just want to see that pushback, too. That's one thing you may be able to control when it comes down to collectives.
It's just weird to me that, like, Tennessee and Georgia could be comparing notes on how to get recruits at NIL.
Yeah.
Like, that part of it, like, how bad do you have to be as the NCAA to make Tennessee and Georgia work together, for Michigan and Penn State to work together and form an alliance.
Yeah. Well, and now even USC being like, hey, welcome into the Big Ten. We know you're competitive as heck, USC, but hey, we're going to share a little
We're going to share
here
a
in the
little.
Big Ten with you, you know?
Yeah. I was going to sing. Never mind.
Yeah, it's probably good.
That's probably better. I
Probably
don't.
not.
Considering what we're doing during the breaks.
We
you're
value
talking
our
about.
listeners here in this radio station.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
You know what?
I'm kidding. I
hope
care.
your voice crack next time you have a high pitch.
Okay.
It was just like so.
Anything
It was
else?
Me anyway. No, that was it. That's about as far as I had.
Coming up next, Andy Staples of On3 details what college football fans can expect from his brand new show and venture with one of the fastest growing brands in athletics in the digital media space. So we'll talk to him about that. And SEC Media Days will never be the same without Steve Spurrier. But whose podium conversation interests him the most? Here in Nashville next week. Andy Staples, good friend of the show, joins us next on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. Are you looking to upgrade a damaged garage door or better maintain consistent temperatures in your garage? Well, I want to tell you about the pros at Lee Company. You hear me talk about a number of services that these guys offer, and the phrase is true. They are all you need, and they're expert technicians. They've got you covered for all your garage door services. And right now, you can get up to $750 off a replacement and installation of a new garage door. That's right, $750 off. When it comes to HVAC, plumbing, electrical, garage doors, Lee Company, they've got great offers for you, and that's why they've been trusted for nearly 80 years. So give them a call at 615-567-1000 or visit them online at leecompany.com/promotions to take advantage of this great deal. Again, $750 off a replacement and installation, up to that number for a new garage door. A great offer, and all you got to do is go to their website, leecompany.com/promotions, or call them at 615-567-1000. That's Lee Company, all you need. Thursday morning continues on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. We're powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors with Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, Robert Walsh, our producer. I'm Will Bowling, and on the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline, on threes, Andy Staples, who joins us, talking about his new venture and who in the world can be even half as entertaining as Steve Spurrier here at SEC Media Days next week. What's up, Andy? How are you, man?
What's going on? There has been one person who could match Steve Spurrier's energy, and he was in your town. Remember when Robbie Caldwell
Yes.
was Vandy's head coach for a year? I have never learned so much about turkey insemination at SEC Media Days.
What?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Ramon, Andy, I think we need Ramon and Kayla to, not on a work browser, look up maybe what's going on with Robbie Caldwell.
Okay.
You need to have your producer cut the clips up for tomorrow and just play the clips during the show. Like, don't let Ramon listen to them. Let him hear them fresh for the first time and remember that this happened in the big room at SEC Media Days.
So, Andy, choose your fighter between that, a Mike Leach podium, and Derek Dooley on shower discipline and or Where's Rommel at the University of Tennessee.
I got a better one.
Ooh.
Nick Saban's dog showed up.
Oh.
He did?
What? What kind of dog, Andy?
It was like a golden retriever, something.
Of course,
a retriever, something like that.
At least it was a big dog.
This was when it was in Hoover at the Galleria. So the hotel, the Winfrey, is attached to the Galleria Mall,
right?
And I guess the dog was with them at the hotel. Wife and daughters had gone. This is Saban's the LSU coach at this point.
Oh.
Wife and daughters had gone shopping. The door got left cracked somehow.
No.
The dog got down the elevator, got into the big room at SEC Media Days, which is not in a really easy place to get to, and wound up coming into the room.
Dude, that is awesome.
I forgot about that. That's right.
So
I love it.
The dog sniffed him out?
Of course. He knew where his owner was. Absolutely.
Unbelievable.
See, this is probably one of Nick Saban's philosophies as a coach, too. If my dog can find me, you can find the end zone. Something simple as that.
Exactly.
And I'd be more interested in his discussion with Miss Terry after that one.
Well, listen, if you've ever witnessed the Nick Saban-Miss Terry dynamic in person, and I'm sure you have, there are no stern words for Miss Terry.
Yeah.
Miss Terry just gives him a look like, well, look, it happened. Get over it, Nick.
She runs the
She's
show.
the one person in the world who can say that.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
That's
so
awesome,
that was
Andy.
in 2004, Andy. We are almost to the 20th anniversary of the same year that Philip Fulmer was basically in a fight with Alabama in the whole subpoena situation in 2004. That was the same year of the Nick Saban dog. Like, we're going to have like an oral history of this in 2024 before, the SEC Media Days then of like 20 years later. Where are they now? Goodness.
Oh, I'm all for it. We'll just get Bob Holt from the Arkansas Democrat Gazette. He was asking all the questions then. He'll be asking them all now. So,
in today's climate, I feel like that era of SEC coaches and scandals would actually have like a celebrity fight. Are we in on that? Can we set that up, Andy?
I'm all for it. I remember when Philip Fulmer did his interview via conference call. They put this was back in the day when you had to have the thing that looked like something that controls a spaceship to do a conference call. They plop that down on the podium. Philip Fulmer's voice comes out. He's like, "Sorry, I couldn't be there." I'm like, "Oh, we know you didn't want to get served with a subpoena, so okay."
Oh, wow. What a time,
Crazy.
man. I was being recruited at that point in time, Andy. That's crazy.
I know. We got to talk about NIL and all these things now and collectives.
I know, right?
Those were
Boring.
things of the future that 2004 reporters were not worried about.
No.
Andy, tell us about your new role with On3. Really excited to follow along in the first episode on the On3 YouTube channel. I know Monday this upcoming week. Just what can you tell college football fans about what they can expect and what you're going to be doing with those guys?
Well, it's a daily show. It's called Andy Staples on 3, and we will be out. It's going to start this Monday, but normal weeks it'll be Sunday through Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. on the On3 YouTube channel. If you can't get to it then, it'll be archived on YouTube. You watch it anytime you want. Also, The audio will be uploaded to all your favorite podcast platforms. So if you like listening to the podcast, and I know that all the folks who listen to my old podcast are like, when's it come? When's the podcast come back? It will be there for you when you wake up in the morning for your commute. Now, obviously, if you live in Nashville, you listen to this show first.
Yep.
You can listen to me later, on demand, anytime you want.
Perfect.
No doubt, man.
It's the right process. Andy, you guys at On3 have been in the NIL space and covering that area of college athletics better than anybody else in college media. And this story yesterday is interesting, of the collective association now and these 7 teams that are basically going through best practices and trying to, I guess, circumvent whatever authority the NCAA thinks it has when it comes to NIL. How significant is this that teams like Georgia, Tennessee, and Ole Miss are working together on NIL?
Well, somebody has to make a realistic set of guidelines or best practices, because the NCAA is not going to. The NCAA, the people in charge, want to push it back to the Stone Age. They want to act like none of this stuff ever happened. That's not going to happen. They will not get the congressional law they want. It's not going to happen. They need to figure out how to live in the new world. They're not trying to, so these collectives are going to try to come up with a way to, at least compare notes and figure out what's going on. They're still going to compete with each other for players, though. That's the thing. Where you get in trouble is if you have collusion, where people are saying, well, we're going to agree not to pay this much. That's not going to happen here. You know how competitive all these schools are in terms of getting players. And so you're going to have a situation where they're probably going to work together on how to do business, but they all still want to get the best players.
Andy, I had the question earlier, or we were speaking on NIL and stuff like that before you came on. And do you see a scenario in which mid-majors start to get big NILs, where they say, we're tired of y'all stealing our players? And we can call it that, poaching, stealing, whatever you want to call it, recruiting. Will we see that?
We're already seeing it. Michael Pratt's the Tulane quarterback, and a bunch of people wanted him. And Tulane stepped up and made a deal, and he's happy there. Austin Reed at Western Kentucky, same thing. He goes into the portal, and he had a great year. He had come from a Division II school before that, and he did kick around the idea of signing with some Power 5 type programs, but Western Kentucky stepped up with a pretty good deal, and he's like, you know what? I like it here, putting up big numbers. Let's go.
And in that same sense, too, as far as being able to get guys out of the transfer portal, NIL deals, too, what's to be said about kids that are still in the portal right now that had big NILs, I'm sure, at some point in time, that don't have a college team to go into training camp with right now? What happens to them, the money they were promised, and just their futures if they're not committed?
Well, if they were promised money, it was to be at a certain school, and when they left that school, they left that money behind. And I hate to say it sounds cold, but look, you're playing for money at this point. You have to be a better player. If you're a better player, you'd have a team.
That's so true.
Andy, when I'm looking at these, college quarterbacks this year in 2023, clearly it's pretty stacked. And I know each year we say, coming out of the college football season, there's some really good quarterbacks that are going to be entering the draft. This list seems to be a little bit longer now. Whether that plays out or not, that's to be seen. But you've got the obvious Caleb Williams, Drake May. Who's kind of a dark horse for you, Andy, early on?
Well, Carson Beck's the one nobody's talking about.
Ooh.
He's going to be the starting quarterback at Georgia. Georgia's going to be 12-0. Carson Beck has a real good chance he winds up in New York. And I know everybody says, he couldn't be out Stetson Bennett. Well, okay, so as a freshman and sophomore, he couldn't be out Stetson Bennett. That people change over time. I think we're getting so used to seeing quarterbacks come in and play right away as a freshman that we think, that's the only way to do it. No, we've seen plenty of examples over the years of guys that maybe weren't ready to play when they got to college, but then evolved into that. And it seems like he has very good command of that offense. Mike Bobo's taken over as the play caller. They're going to throw it probably a little more. And I think it honestly has more to do with them losing Darnell Washington, the tight end, who was essentially another offensive tackle on the field and really just changed up the numbers in the run game. But that offense is probably going to be actually a little more effective throwing the ball than it was even last year. So he's going to put up some big numbers. There are a lot of good quarterbacks, Kaylee, and you mentioned, more than usual, and I think it's because of NIL, and it might only be a 1 or 2 year thing. So you have NIL, and then you have the extra year of eligibility from the pandemic. And so you have guys like Michael Penix Jr. at Washington, Bo Nix at Oregon. They're sticking around. Sam Hartman, who went from Wake Forest to Notre Dame, they're sticking around. They would have been gone to the NFL in the past, either because they ran out of eligibility because they didn't have that extra COVID year, or because they were going to be a 5th or 6th round pick and they wanted to start their NFL careers. But now you can make some pretty good money and you can come back and maybe improve your draft stock. So I think that's why you see a little bit of a surplus of good experienced quarterbacks this year.
We saw what happened at Florida with, one of the top recruits in the country thinking he was going to get a bag, didn't end up getting that money. Now, he's obviously not committed there. How often, Andy, are we still seeing these big time programs, or even, just anybody who's trying to give these recruits money and not following through? Is that still a thing that's happening?
That wasn't a thing that was happening then. The reason it was such a big story is because it happened that way.
Mm-hmm.
It's bad business, and it was terribly embarrassing for Florida, and they're still dealing with the fallout from the whole Jaden Rashada situation. It's not good to be known in those circles as a place where you're going to get promised this and you're not going to get it. You've got to follow through on it. So, I've heard of a couple cases of little small deals that maybe didn't quite go through, but nothing to that effect. If you're promising somebody a fairly significant deal, you need to follow through. Yeah. Otherwise, you're going to have trouble recruiting people going forward. Now, the Florida one was a little bit different because there was no real money behind that. The numbers were artificially inflated on the contract. Like, somebody either representing the kid or with the program should have looked at those numbers and said, this is not real. This is unrealistic. You'd never actually do this. So what are we doing here? But that didn't happen, and you got all of it blowing up in everybody's face.
Andy Staples on 3, our guest this morning here on Ramon, Kalen, Will. Andy, Northwestern now with an opening this late in the process. This is not your grandfather's Northwestern with the facilities they've built, with what Pat Fitzgerald has done on the football field with that program. What is kind of the conversation around that opening, and is there a name among the rest of the pack that makes the most sense for them?
Well, they don't have to hire anybody right now. They're going to do an interim thing through the whole season, and they'll enter the regular coaching carousel. Their drawback right now is their administration, which really bungled this whole Pat Fitzgerald thing. We don't even know what the AD does. Derek Gregg is the AD. You haven't heard a word from him, which is just embarrassing. So the question is the administration going to be the same? Will it be the same AD, same president when you get to the time when they're actually hiring a coach in November? I think that's a pretty key question, because if they get that part straightened out, then, there's going to be people who want this job, because of those high academic schools, Northwestern has had the most recent success. They played in the Big Ten championship game twice in the last 5 years. Pat Fitzgerald had, several 9-win seasons there. They have a ton to sell. You mentioned the facilities. They're obviously in one of America's great cities, or, in the suburbs of it. And they can pay because they're in the Big Ten. Like, the Big Ten schools, they all are going to have a ton of money when this new TV deal kicks in this year. So they're going to be able to pay as much or more than any SEC school, and way more than the schools in the ACC and the Big 12 and the Pac-12. So you look at people who like coaching at that kind of school, who've done a good job. Like, the one name to me that pops out, and Ramon's going to hate this, I know, but Dave Clawson at Wake Forest.
I knew it.
He wants to coach at a high academic school. He's built perhaps the best pound-for-pound program in the country at Wake Forest. It's the smallest school in the FBS by enrollment. They don't have the same resources as, say, Clemson or a lot of the Florida State, the schools they have to compete with in the ACC. Yet they've been very competitive. Even beat Clemson for the ACC Atlantic title a couple of years ago. So that's a name I would look at. And then, like, Lance Leipold at Kansas, who's done an incredible job there. He was the head coach at Wisconsin Whitewater. That's his part of the country in the Midwest. So, I think there will be coaches as long as the administration is something they're comfortable with, there will be coaches who will go, you know what, even if this doesn't work out, I'm going to collect like $45 million when all is said and done between the years I coach and the buyout. I'm taking this chance.
We were doing so good, Andy.
That is a one-way.
I know, Ramon.
So-
I knew as soon as I brought the name up it was going to happen.
I knew that you would drop Florida in there somewhere, and I knew that was a thing.
I didn't drop Florida. Kayla
I
dropped
did.
Florida.
Kayla did,
Sneaky
but
drop.
of course, I mean, it is what it is, Andy. Let's get back on track with another enemy of ours. Bama this year, man. They forever will get the Jimmies and Joes, right? But the question I have is one of the positions where the Jimmies and Joes is a quarterback. What does that situation look like? Apparently, they're supposed to be good. They got a few 5 stars, 4 stars, a lot of guys competing. Will they actually get back on the right pathway this year with their quarterback play?
I don't know that they're gonna have what they've had the last 4 guys they've had at quarterback.
Yeah.
And think about the run they've been on. You know, since Jalen Hurts took over the first game of 2016, they've had Jalen Hurts, Tua Tagovailoa, Mac Jones, Bryce Young. That's one of the best runs anybody's ever had in terms of consecutive quarterbacks, and definitely the best run in the history of Alabama football, which is a very storied history. So to expect that to continue forever was unrealistic. But I think we probably – I know I was surprised when they came out of spring and didn't feel like any of the highly recruited quarterbacks they had on their roster was definitely the guy. Like, them going out to get Tyler Buckner as a transfer from Notre Dame tells you that they didn't feel good about the guys they had. They want to add to this competition. Now, I don't know who winds up starting. The assumption is it's either Tyler Buckner, Jalen Milroe, or Ty Simpson, that the 2 freshmen really aren't in the mix. But it's an interesting situation because I came across a clip on YouTube. I don't know why YouTube served this clip up to me the other day, but it was I was like, oh, this is interesting. It was Ryan Kelly, who's the Colts starting center now. He was Alabama's center in the mid 2010s. And it was at SEC Media Days in 2015. And everybody's asking about the quarterback competition. And I had forgotten about this. They had 5 guys still in competition going into preseason camp in 2015. They ended up winning the national title.
Wow.
And Jake Coker didn't end up playing in the NFL, but he was so surrounded by talent that he did a good enough job to win the national title. They may be in that situation again this year. Whoever wins this job is going to be so surrounded by talent. Now, there is the issue of you got LSU that has a lot of top-end talent and a quarterback that they really like in Jaden Daniels and a backup they really like in Garrett Nussmeier. You've got Georgia, obviously, that is completely loaded. So it's a little bit different SEC than that 2015 Alabama team faced. But I wouldn't be shocked if they wind up winning the West.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're good enough to beat Georgia, but we wouldn't find that out until the SEC championship game.
Andy Staples bringing it as always here with us, Ramon, Kayla, and Will. Check out Andy Staples on 3 in the new venture covering college football from our good friend of the show. Andy, I feel like we covered everything but the normal food discussions that we have with you, so we'll have to do that again sometime soon.
Well, no, you guys I need you to all text me and tell me where I'm eating next week in Nashville.
Oh, that's right.
Well, we need to
we need a list.
Recap this, and then end of SEC Media Days next week, we pencil in like a review of best and worst podiums and best and worst food that you've tried in Nashville.
We definitely need to do that.
I'm here. Were you actually sympathetic to Joey Chestnut too? The fact that
Oh my gosh, you would do something like this.
He said that the dogs get really gummy when they get cold, and that was a horrible image to think about and know that he still ate 62 of them in 10 minutes.
Yeah, the buns weren't fast. Buns weren't fast.
The buns were fast. Those were conditions for fast buns. Well, then they might have been stale, so they might not have been fast.
Andy, I know you've been on Pardon My Take, and it's so funny. Like when Big Cat from Barstool was in the hot dog contest, and he said, "I always remember Joey Chestnut looking at me and saying, 'The buns look fast today,' and that quote lives rent free in my head."
Oh
genuinely.
boy.
I would just, if I ever got in that contest, I wouldn't even try because I don't like soggy bread. When they start dunking the buns in the water, I'm out. I would just grab a bottle of mustard, put a stripe of mustard on a hot dog, and eat like 10 hot dogs normally. And be like, I did my best.
Yep. That's all that's needed.
Andy, great stuff as always, man. We'll do it again. Do it again soon. We'll have our people talk to your people. We'll get you on next week.
Yes, sir.
All right. Love it. There's Andy Staples with us this morning. We got some breaking Tennessee news that is a pretty big surprise.
What?
Mm-hmm.
One guy who's transferred in, who is transferring back out this offseason of Tennessee. Coming up on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. Thursday morning on our own, Kayla and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors here on 104.5 The Zone. There's the musical stylings of Ramon Foster and Kayla Anderson with Robert Walsh spinning the hits. I'm Will Bowling.
Do you know this one, Will?
Of course I know this one.
Kidding
me?
They made this beat on, what was it, the beat machine?
This
Fruity
economy?
Loops?
This is like Rock Band.
Rock Band, Fruity Loops. Yeah.
Or Garage Band.
Garage band.
I was a big Garage Band guy.
I don't know what
Garage
it
Band and
was.
Guitar Hero, man.
When your school got those new colorful Macs and it had Garage Band on it,
Yeah.
I was in there tuning stuff out.
That was the same era that like I was playing Guitar Hero and Rock Band, and then I was just Garage Band all day long.
Didn't the Wii have something too? You remember the Wii?
I think you
had
could
a
play
Wii,
Rock
definitely.
Band on the Wii.
Yeah, you had to get the guitar though, right? I
Right.
could never get my fingers together on that thing, like the holding down,
Not
or whatever
born to
you
be
had
a
to
musician.
do,
You
or
probably
even the
could've-
drums either.
You probably
Couldn't.
you couldn't make the drums work.
I just never was an instrument guy in general. I hated the recorder they gave us in
I
third
know.
grade.
I faked the flute for a whole season.
no.
Did you? Ain't
Yeah.
no
How do you
way.
do that?
I don't know. I did it.
Oh,
I faked the flute
My gosh,
in
I
eighth
hate
grade.
the recorder, dude. Because it's so much pressure.
My
as a
band
kid.
teacher would never ever love me.
That's
for
kind of
saying
like
that.
in college. I did something similar with that, but it was with keg stands because people could never tell. Like I would make it look like I was actually like drinking the beer, but really my tongue was on the spout the whole time. They'd be like, 41, he's a legend. And yeah, I am. It's like, how is he still
This
sober?
is where, Robert, I really wish in our intro we had an intro for you. It's like, Robert Walsh, he's a legend.
That's it. That's
There
it
it
right
is.
there.
I'm
Add
gonna
it in,
cut it.
Bert.
Now you're going to
There
make
it
that
is.
for my name. Dang it. Anyway, breaking news courtesy of Grant Ramey of On3 and VolQuest.com. Chris Ledlam, Tennessee forward and Harvard transfer, is transferring back out of Tennessee basketball.
What a turncoat.
Interesting. So I think a couple of things to unpack here, and we can get the full breakdown of this on today's 3HL when Ron Slay will likely have more insight into what's going on here. But Josiah Jordan-James, who is initially thought to be gone to the next level, comes back, is told, hey, you can come back. You can come on technically as a walk-on because we're out of scholarships, and we're going to make you basically scholarship money with NIL. So Josiah Jordan-James comes back, and Tennessee's got a full roster plus one. And I guess now he's able to be back on scholarship and can be back in a normal kind of routine. But some reports from Rick Barnes, who spoke with the media earlier this week, that Jemai Meshack had been playing every position 1 through 5 on the floor.
Wow.
And on a very crowded roster where JP Estrella, the incoming freshman, the 6'11 player who's getting rave reviews from Rick Barnes, maybe Chris Ledlam didn't have as much playing time as he originally thought he was going to have at Tennessee.
That's a
Interesting.
transfer. I met him actually at the spring game. He was in a family, beautiful, awesome time. He was super excited about being around as we toured the basketball facility and stuff. I didn't expect this because he's capable of playing. That's what's so fascinating to me. This is weird when I recognize who the heck it was that transferred out.
And this is why it is so tough now to keep up with anything in college basketball, especially when it's not the season, right?
Yeah.
And this stuff is going on because the 1 minute, if you're not paying attention like we are, like on Twitter, like you're not going to know this for a minute, right? And then this is happening daily. Like this transfer portal thing, I mean, things are happening off season, in season. It's nuts. And here's just an example of you get in, you think he's there, and then he's back out.
Only thing I can think of is, like you said, Josiah coming back.
Yeah.
May be a thing. Also, this is the time of year I think basketball players are gym, weight room, working out and stuff like that. I don't know if it was being around Barnes. Barnes can be a hard coach. I don't know what it is when it comes down to a guy being out like that.
Been dealing with a knee injury. Was not going to play when Tennessee basketball heads to Italy in a couple of weeks for their European tour. Grant Ramey of On3 saying that all media watched practice Tuesday. That's when Rick Barnes spoke with the media. And they liked his game. It said this was something that caught everyone on campus off guard.
Wow.
And this was not something they were aware of even 2 days ago. But Grant Ramey adds Josiah Jordan-James is back on scholarship, though, which, makes sense.
He is back on scholarship.
Well, yeah, he will be now because there's one available.
I mean, well, yeah.
Yeah.
So Tennessee, who has cleaned up in the transfer portal in all sports, has two kind of perplexing subtractions when it comes to Chris Ledlam and Chase Burns.
Sorry about breaking into laugh, but
I was like,
the way Ramon broke in, he was like, he is back on scholarship.
He
sounded
is.
like the mama talking the day I gets home from work, and he was
Yeah.
like, you going to have to whoop his ass? Your son has been talking real reckless to me all day.
Yeah.
I'm going to need you to pull up and show him who's boss.
He went into Rand Carthon mode.
I
sure.
did, but I was
Some
just
site.
because I'm just like y'all. Y'all brought me here, told me I was great, and now you kick me out, or I move myself
Or maybe
out.
On the
He
day
did
of
it.
my daughter's wedding?
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
That blows my mind.
In this economy?
This economy.
I had to get
Robert-
rid of him. Will is a fool.
Robert hates how much he laughs at my jokes. It makes you so mad how funny you think I am.
Because I know where they're coming from.
Get him out of here, please.
That's why I like Kirk Cousins so much, is because I imagine Kirk Cousins and I have the same terrible sense of humor of like a Midwestern 45-year-old dad of 4.
Oh,
Why
man.
does he got to be from the Midwest? I know some folks
'Cause
in
he
the
plays
deep
in the
South,
Midwest.
Okay, that's
He went to Michigan State and plays for the Minnesota Vikings.
Where's he from though?
Everybody guess. What state do you think Kirk Cousins is from?
I think-
Virginia.
That was my guess. I was
Oh,
going to guess
really?
Virginia.
I'm saying
I'm going to
Virginia.
say, oh gosh.
Whatever state you about to say right now is gonna be bad.
I want to say it's got to be Texas.
I could see him being in Texas.
What you got, Will?
Kirk is a very Texas name. Give me Illinois.
Yeah, you're a dog. Will hits it on the
Illinois.
nose.
So he is
Oh,
Midwestern.
he is
Barrington.
Midwestern.
Barrington,
Okay.
Illinois. Kelly the whole time. Let's
Yep.
get her.
That's about as
What?
boring as you
It's
can
an office
get.
quote. Don't worry about it. Just let me be.
Hell, Arlington,
We need
Texas.
everybody. If you're going to listen to the show, you need to go watch The Office about 6 times, and then the humor of this show will grow exponentially.
No, because I know there are like 5
I don't
people.
watch The Office.
There are
so.
like 5 people who are just like, that's funny. Like
Yeah.
who are just
that was
dying
what Dwight
laughing.
went looking
worth
for.
it.
When Dwight and Jim,
Yep.
when there's the collusion
It was
in the office, and Kelly
It's the
ruins
reviews.
Kelly ruins Dwight and Jim's customer reviews.
Yeah.
And Dwight thinks it's a conspiracy, and Jim's like, Dwight, you were right. He goes, I was right.
Yeah.
You were right. He goes, I was right. He goes, you were right,
And
buddy.
then
He goes,
punched Jim.
Kelly the whole time. Let's get her. And just starts walking back to the annex.
He punched Jim hard right there too. By the way, finished
he
the
did.
session last night.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
my gosh.
How was it?
It was
You're burying the lead.
You're glowing.
We should have led the show with this.
It was solid. I'm gonna
Okay.
be honest. Solid finish. I still can't figure out Shiv. I think Roman found what he was looking for.
Okay.
and
Don't give
I'm-
it away to anybody who's listening. Who
Not give it
hasn't.
away. Y'all had time to finish it. Y'all had time to watch
Yeah,
it.
what's the statute of limitations of talking about a show that had a finale 2 months ago?
2 weeks. It's
2
2
weeks.
weeks.
2 weeks, really?
It is
Yeah,
2
I
weeks.
think that's about right.
I think
2
it's a
weeks.
month.
Because if you was going to watch it, if you were in the weeds and you're like, I don't want someone to spoil this for
Yeah.
me, you had to be
But
watching
that's
it.
no, because he had not seen it, and we were all finished with it for way more than 2
That's
weeks.
true.
That's his fault. He
You know
should have
what
been
I'm
like
saying?
Game of Thrones. If
Y'all
you-
respecting my wishes.
And
though.
Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
If you're watching Game of Thrones a month after the finale wrapped, that's
Yeah.
your own fault. You're going to know about the spoilers.
Different from movies than TV shows, because you can watch a movie more easily than you can watch an entire TV show.
Sure,
for a
but
movie, I think it's almost a week. And then for a TV show, I think it's a month, because if you have a 3-season show
Yeah.
that you could still squeeze into a month, then that's fair.
if that show had been going on for longer than 4 years, you had plenty of time. You done paid your taxes 4 times. You know how long it takes to do taxes?
Or do
Not as
you?
long as it does to watch Game of Thrones. You had plenty of time.
Absolutely. The boardroom at the end, I wasn't expecting. That was the one twist. I figured it was going to.
I'm the eldest boy.
I did not expect the boardroom situation.
Who dies? Just say who dies.
It really ain't a whole lot of death.
Yeah,
I
this
couldn't
is-
believe when the dragon died, and then
Yeah,
they
he
made
came back.
They made Jon
dragon.
Snow the CEO of Waystar Royco. That was crazy.
Waystar Royco.
And then Michael left for Colorado.
You better
and then
get
Leslie
on the bear.
Knope was recalled.
There's one person on that show I hate. I hate the bald head new publicist dude, the older
Frank?
guy. Not Frank, the bald headed skinny guy with the comb over.
Hugo.
Hugo.
Not a big Hugo guy.
Not a Hugo guy.
Hugo's a king.
Hugo Hugo is not a king, man. He went
No
from
one on that
kissing
show's
one
a
butt
king.
cheek to the other person's butt cheek that fast, man.
Chandler on Twitter at Ramon Kayla Will. I've seen The Office 20 times all the way through. I'm one of the 5 who gets Will's jokes. Keep them coming.
Chandler, way
Yes,
to roll,
Chandler.
Oh boy,
You know
feeding the
ball.
ego.
Come pick up your jacket.
To the 4th hour of the show. Chandler, your check's in the
Oh
mail.
goodness.
What the heck is going on? From the 104.5 The Zone Studios, I'm Robert Walsh. Pro Football Hall of Fame news as longtime Oiler and Titans owner Bud Adams named a semifinalist in coach and contributor category for the Pro Football Hall of Fame class of 2024. Former Oilers return man Billy White Shoes Johnson and longtime scout C.O. Bricado also advanced for consideration. Some baseball news as Tennessee right-handed pitcher Chase Burns is transferring to Wake Forest. He announced on his Instagram yesterday the number 9 overall overall prospect in the 2024 Major League Draft, is headed to Winston-Salem, as Burns went 5-3 last year with a 4.25 ERA. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone. It's
Off we go into hour number 4 on a beautiful Thursday morning in Nashville. Honestly, any morning you wake up in Nashville, it's a beautiful morning. It's a good morning to have a good morning here under Mode, Kayla, and Will. We're powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. Visit allfourseasonsgarages.com/Nashville. We've got the one and only Buck Rising joining us in our next segment. He's got a big event tonight. And you've got your last chance to get some tickets. Head over to @1045 The Zone on Twitter. They just put out a link for your last call to knock down some pins tonight. Mm-hmm. Play the sport of my family. That'd be great.
Sport of my family. Really?
With Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, Robert Walsh, I'm Will Bowling. The RKW draft in hour 4 today with Buck Rising, our celebrity guest picker. And we were doing best villains in sports. Which I'm very excited about.
I'm excited about this one.
So I think, should we amend our rules and have Robert pick as well? Because Robert is the defending champion, deserves a spot. And I think we have 5 picks today. We have 5 pickers, and we have just a deeper draft board. There are a lot of villains in sports.
That is unfortunate because I did not prepare, but I will be ready by 9:20.
Well, you won last week, so you've earned the opportunity to defend your title.
Yeah, you get to go first, right?
Yep.
Since I'm going first, could I also perhaps Shark Tank pitch a business idea to you guys? Really
you
quickly?
may. Oh, of course.
Okay, so my problem is I have no problem cooking or preparing something. My problem is I always forget to bring the said food with me. So I'm proposing a meal prep service that delivers to you Uber Eats style every day. That way you don't have to remember to bring your lunch. They will just bring you the meal prepped food every day. Because if I ordered a meal prep service, it would just sit in my fridge and I'd be like, dadgummit, like I'm starving. But that macaroni, chicken, whatever the heck they cook today is sitting in my fridge. So if somebody would like to be an angel investor and get me out of here and give me a spot as like a corporate America kind of guy, I'm here for it. Give me a job.
What would be like your go-to dish then? As I do one of these. I'm not going to name it, but because no free shout-outs, but I do the clean eats service. Oops, I just shouted it out.
At this point, I'm so daggum hungry, I'd eat a peanut butter and jelly sandwich at this point. Leave the crust on. None of that bothers me.
Oh, so Uncrustable.
Crustable? Uncrustable? I'd eat something off the floor right now. I'm so hungry.
Wow.
Okay, that means we need to get him some food.
We only got an hour left. I can make it work.
Yeah.
Does anybody have some
They got
chewing gum?
They got some pickles in the fridge in the break room.
No, because last time this happened, you and Lucas were out.
That's true. Well, those were what were those? Chicken wings? What did we eat?
Is that what it was?
like those sandwiches.
It was
chicken salad?
Muffaletta.
What is that?
Cajun sandwich.
Yeah, Cajun Italian kind of thing. It's got like tapenade and all these different Italian hams on it. But anyway, that's my Shark Tank pitch, not the Will Smith movie.
So let me, which I just got a text from a high school friend who says Bert is the next Elon with business/sports ideas. Although that's a compliment.
I would love that.
Insult. I think it's a compliment.
Take over Twitter.
I'll take you one step further. For when you get to work after you've meal prepped something, and instead of like DoorDash or Uber Eats, you just get someone to like you leave a key, and someone can DoorDash food that's at your fridge that you forgot to bring with you.
See,
oh gosh,
I feel like your insurance would Bert Dash. Yeah, it will be me.
Yeah,
I will go
Dash.
through your house.
Sure. That's scary.
You're like, you're the only Dasher. You got like calls around all of Nashville.
And he'll deliver it in his birthday suit.
Yes, he will. Why, bro? I was
You're gonna pay separate for that.
No, that's included in the fee. That's part of the delivery.
Who's paying the fee there? I don't know.
Exactly. My eyes or your pockets? Which one is it? Jeez, please don't reach in your pocket.
Ramon, your delivery's on the way, by the way. I'll be there in a little bit.
I was going to say, wait, what pockets?
And just show up in there and drop the Ramon's brown paper bag off.
Bert, that's a fair assessment because that's one thing about the meal prep stuff, though, too, is depending on how you feel that day, I might not want to eat that balsamic. Like, but you know what I'm saying? The chicken with the rice, I'm just like, not today. Like,
You
and
go
that's
through those things. Food days. It's like, nah, that sounds disgusting.
I don't want that today. I wanted it on Sunday, but not today. You're right. Make me something that I feel like right now.
How many times is the right amount of time to meal prep something where you don't get tired of it?
3 days.
I think 3, if you eat it 3 times, including the first time when you make it.
Heck, right now I still have chicken thighs in the fridge, salmon, and chicken breasts.
Oh, wow.
I got to figure out how to, and that's what sucks about meal prep.
My problem is I will meal prep it. I'll put them all in their little boxes, and then I'll eat one, and then I'll be like, dang, I'm kind of hungry. I think I could eat another one. And then the problem is you're like, man, I'm going to eat I just need the rice out of this one. Then all of a sudden I got some lopsided meal preps where there's chicken in this one. There may be peppers in another one. It's like, daggone, man, why couldn't I get the accessible portion for a big fella like me?
I have been there too, my brother. I have been there.
I will do that and then realize that I haven't portioned it out correctly.
Mm-hmm.
But then I won't eat it and then order something else. I'll just straight up order something else. It's like, oh, I might as well then just eat something else then. If, like, I can be bored and hungry of a meal, I might as well just get a new meal.
My vice is I will make a pot of rice so quick. I would just be like, oh, I'm hungry. I'm actually hungry as hell. I'm going to make a pot of rice. And I'll just eat a pot of rice.
I won't front. I love rice. And I, as
So
a kid,
much.
never ate rice. You know where I fell in love with rice again? In Hawaii. The sticky rice that they serve with every single dish because, you know, like the different cultures they have over there. You can eat Spam with rice and eggs and be fine, okay?
No,
that's good.
No, man, Will, you
not.
say that. It is.
I like Spam.
Yeah, the Vietnamese
Grilled.
sausage that they have
It's
over
like
there.
bologna with attitude.
Dog!
Man, when it's like greasy like that.
And you put that over some
I'll
sticky
make a
rice.
literally
Spam
gonna be
sandwich.
sick.
Hey,
I'm
don't
gonna be
play
sick.
with me,
My
okay?
grandma loved to cook some Spam.
Having Spams with a macaroni salad
Yeah.
in Hawaii with a side of rice.
Do you know Hawaii eats more Spam than the rest of the country put together?
Boom.
Because
Hey,
it goes
I don't
back
know
to
ball.
to World War II.
Come
You
on now,
betcha.
Bert. Now you preaching to the people that get it. Will ain't getting it today, okay?
That's why I haven't been.
That's what it is. That's what it is.
Yeah.
I'm also not a big pineapple guy. I know that's a hot take.
I could do it too.
I've come
man.
around on it.
I've gone to the Dole factory. It is so awesome.
It depends like what I'm eating it with at the time.
Yes.
Or it's very specific when I can. No, I do like pineapple drink like in my drink a little if
Now
I'm doing
that I'm great
you
with.
know, like
Okay.
any kind of
That I'm great with.
I like pineapple drink.
Alcohol, that fixes it for you,
I
Kayla.
like pineapple drink.
Yeah.
Pina coladas are outstanding, and no male needs to ever feel shame about enjoying a pina colada
You know what I went to this
or a
past
strawberry
love that.
daiquiri.
in
for that
San
matter.
Juan? I went to the place where the original pina colada was made.
You're just staying at bragging camp all across the world.
I
Like,
am.
what are you?
I have no idea why, but yeah, the guy who invented it was Don Ramon.
Or Don Julio.
But yeah, I mean, that's
Don Ramon.
kind of what I want to say, Kayla. But yeah, it was actually San Juan, Puerto Rico.
Wow.
Yep.
One of the fruity
Been there.
drinks you had too much of on vacation, you said.
I
Beautiful
didn't actually
place.
get that one. I was beelining myself to the cigar house.
Okay.
Yeah, the line was so long because why? When it's the original one, guess what? Everybody wants to go. I was like, you know what? No, I'm gonna go find the cigar house because I used Yelp and found it on the Google Maps and everything.
Oh,
Cigars
look
are
at
0
you.
calories.
They
Yeah.
are. They are. It's what
Easy to
happens.
stay lean on them bad
Word.
boys.
All the calories just go up in smoke.
Yeah, there
There
it
you
is.
go.
Get them off the
There
airway.
it was.
Honestly, no, that's kind of true. Like,
Y'all should have never told me about that. I'm sorry, Will. I'm sorry.
That looks so fun to be able to
I'm
have like
sorry. Don't
control
look
back
at me
there.
like that.
He does have a lot of control.
give you the lost puppy look.
How do you, Ramon, like, how did this even start, man? How did y'all start cutting his mic off?
Shaved it. Oh,
Yeah, that's so funny with the foots on
How are
the
the turntables?
I'm not going to say anything.
Is it
That
just
way
me
you
or
don't
have
get
these
cut off.
tables turned, Ramon?
I'm not even.
Okay,
this
I have an
time.
update on
I'm
Buck
not
Rising
even.
since no one can cut my
is he
mics
gonna
off.
come
great.
here?
Buck said, I've been texting him all day because he told me, hey,
Sure.
remind me, I'm going to have other things to do. So at 6:20, I said, you're on at 9:20. He said, one every hour. So on the
Get
hour,
outta here.
I said, you're on at 9:20. You're on at 9:20. He hit me with a DJ Khaled, another one. And then I said, you're on in 20 minutes. He said, do I have time to get coffee? Like, is it actually 20
There's
minutes?
coffee here.
He said, I'll bring you food if I can stop for coffee. I said,
what?
I'll allow it. I got the first pick. I'm
If he's
sorry.
bringing
late.
you food,
He's
he's
gonna be
bringing all
late
of
and
us
it's because
food.
Bert's stomachs is growling.
We might have to re-eject Bert
Here we
from
go.
today's draft.
They're gonna make me forfeit my pick.
We got to put parameters around.
This
Bert
is like
now.
when the Miami Dolphins tried to illegally recruit Tom Brady. You
Oh
illegally
my
recruiting
gosh.
food from Buck Rising. The forfeiture of a first-round selection.
What can I say? I'm an extortionist.
You no longer can sleep in the house. You no longer have a doghouse outside either. You are a puppy. No, you are a dog that is now chained around a tree, okay, with a tire swinging from it. That's your new house.
Whoa.
Wolf.
That's your new house right now. I saw those dogs. I feel bad for him right now. So he said, wolf.
That's on Hunk's board.
Do you have the Kevin McAllister? Woof.
Yeah, woof. I do say woof a lot.
I
Yeah.
was going to say.
Oh, fascinating. I see Jackson trying to get in the studio right now. Where's Jackson? Just walk in,
Trying
Jackson.
to break down the door there.
Walk
We're
in.
approachable.
Yeah,
That's fantastic.
Okay, that is ridiculous.
That sounds so
That is so ridiculous.
Robert, you have all of our full permission to just drop in. That's fantastic. Whatever you want. That
Heck
would,
yeah.
that would get
Easiest
me to break
one
every time.
word thing he's ever done.
It is. Charles
Or
is
two
losing
words.
his mind right now. I know for a fact.
Well, speaking of taste buds that might have to change in new cities, Ed Orgeron wants the Northwestern job. Can you imagine a worst fit for Northwestern?
Can you imagine him trying to have a conversation?
Coach
with
Hey,
the board?
here.
That is so laughable. I'm sorry.
All he would
That
do
is-
is recruit kids from the South. He would just not recruit St. Louis, Illinois, any of
Call
those
up into
states.
this Louisiana.
Yeah.
He's like, academics. What are academics?
You imagine him trying to have a crawfish bowl in like Northwestern?
No, it's like a pizza place.
Can you imagine that? It's like, boy, I never mentioned I'd be up here. We didn't either. Leave ASAP.
Yeah, he essentially, Brady Locker of InsideNU.com says after firing 17-year head coach Pat Fitzgerald on Monday, a source tells him that Ed Orgeron, quote, would have interest in Northwestern's opening. However, the source also shared that Northwestern had not contacted Ed Orgeron. I also would have interest in driving an Italian sports car.
Absolutely.
I would have interest in Buck Rising bringing me breakfast this morning.
Is he bringing all of us breakfast? Actually, that's the
bring
question.
one, gotta
See
bring
any
them all,
scenario of
Kayla.
that.
He's on our show, so he should be giving us gifts.
Bring one, bring them all.
I'll let everybody take a bite.
I brought you frankincense. I brought you myrrh.
Durr.
So, man.
I'm lost
Again, Robert and I are quoting vines that you had to be this
Don't
tall
worry,
to
I'm
ride on a
lost.
roller coaster.
That's how I feel
I'm
right
lost
now.
on this
Yeah,
one.
me too, Kayla. Vines. I never even heard of other than the app.
You should get on TikTok since you don't have Twitter.
I ain't never heard of that thing except for that thing.
I did
Get on Threads. Get on Threads.
I'm on Threads.
Oh, you
Threads
are?
is
Yeah,
boring.
I'm
You
on
don't follow me
Threads.
on Threads.
Boring.
I didn't. I followed everybody that said that, like all my current followers. I did.
Okay, I guess
It's
you
just
would probably
boring.
follow me then.
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I've threaded once.
I cannot
Yeah.
get. I threaded twice.
We should live stream someone sewing, and then you can
Yeah.
make threads on Threads.
Oh, stop it.
I just
Stop
need
it.
back on my social media account on Twitter. That's all I need.
just
I
prefer
feel like it's
wolf.com.
affecting the
I
story.
feel like-
Somebody else
Show.
out there has to know.
You ain't getting back in that thing.
I'm not
Might as
getting
well-
back in
You might
it.
as well give it up. Have a yard sale. Get you a new
Start from the
account.
new.
Be like, look, hey, I am the real Ramon Foster. And then I'm gonna quote tweet it and say, report this fraud.
And
this
then he's going to
imposter.
be locked back out.
I know, man. It ain't killing me because I'm probably better without it.
This is what Elon has done to
Coming
Ramon.
up in the
Speechless.
the Sports Villains RKW draft, Ramon might draft Elon Musk
Yeah.
because, like the other blue check marks that are big mad on Twitter, but yet will complain on Twitter about Twitter because they're not going anywhere else. You're going to be complaining about Elon Musk taking away your opportunity to talk sports on Twitter.com.
Tisk.
See, that's the thing is I hate the changes Elon has made to Twitter.
I do too.
But I love watching people like Darren Ravel lose their ever-loving minds about a website they're threatening to leave, and they'll never actually leave.
You talk about being on the wrong side of Northwestern, too.
Well, yeah, Darren Ravel's had a rough week.
It's not been a good week.
Most weeks are tough for Darren Ravel, to be fair.
No new concession foods for him to reaggregate on his social
no
media.
trading cards.
Yep.
And he keeps trying to bury the Northwestern stuff with like new bids on
Sure he
like
does.
ticket stubs and stuff like that. It's like, no, bro, we need to get back to the Northwestern conversation that you went to back. He vouched.
I know he did.
He vouched.
You should have got to him and said, "Don't do it. Look what I did."
The voucher for the vouchless.
Mm-hmm. No longer.
Yeah, it's not great. Not great. Well, the RKW draft continues coming up next. We'll see if Ramon picks Elon Musk. We'll see how prepared Robert Walsh is off the top of his head. We'll also see if anyone drafts Buck Rising, who allegedly will join us. Coming up. I'll believe it when I see it on 104.5 The Zone. It's RKW 104.5 The Zone, presented by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. We've got a full studio, and we have got the fourth installment of the RKW Draft here on this Thursday morning. Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, defending champion Robert Walsh,
Yay.
and the one and only Buck Rising, who joins us this morning.
Hello.
How you
Hi,
doing?
Buck.
How's everybody?
Welcome.
We're good. What'd you bring Burt for food?
One, I don't like that name. Two, I love that I can't hear him at all. And
Yet.
three, champion of anything.
Well, I was the
Robert
two-time
Walsh.
champion.
Okay.
Before he was
well, that's
champion.
fine. You're a winner.
Yeah.
Robert,
Not so much.
CBD.
Kayla has two banners. Robert this is his ring ceremony today. We'll see if
Yeah.
he's distracted from the emotions of raising a banner.
But is it a banner? I mean, is it a banner or is it a,
Well, this is Nashville. We do like hanging unnecessary banners.
is it a Preds banner? Is it a
Sports
Colts
teams
banner?
just
What kind of banner are we talking
Yeah,
here?
we need to start getting those up in here.
Yeah.
Mine has a
The banners?
Marlboro sponsorship at the bottom of it.
Of course
I
it
was
does.
actually thinking toilet tissue banner, but either way, it works
Charmin?
too.
See, I told you the fecal matter thing wasn't just me.
I know.
Bed sheets. It'll be like
Yep.
the frats, the bed sheet banner.
Good toilet
Yeah.
humor.
All right. I'm here on time, so I don't think you should get this.
Well done.
Oh, now he's
You were
teasing
only
him
here
with
on
the
time
food.
because we stalled like crazy last segment.
Wow.
I have here in front of me a cherry Danish
Oh,
from Farm City Coffee at the farmer's market.
Wow.
look at
He went to the farmer's
fancy.
market for you.
Oh, yeah. Well, I didn't go for him. I went for me. I wanted my coffee.
Is that easy to get in and out?
Yeah, it's on my
Okay,
way.
I've never
Literally,
been.
I should never be late to this job.
There it is.
I feel like it's a challenge to be late.
I live 5 minutes away. I
Yeah.
had time to stop for coffee, wait in line for coffee, get my coffee this morning.
look,
No.
he's
Look
in
at this
here.
king.
I
go
was
off.
here on time.
Robert has
king go
entered the
off.
studio.
Do we have Buck on Zone TV if there's a fight that breaks out?
No.
here?
This
think
is
they're
fine.
on.
Okay.
They'll wrestle.
We can make this work. I'd like a please.
Pretty please.
Into the microphone, please, Robert.
Can I please have that Danish?
Look at that friendship.
Good boy.
He ran away like a dog when he
Good
gets a treat. He
boy.
goes to hide it back in his
What
little
a
area.
friendship.
That's
this
right.
is.
Friendship.
I love
Isn't
it.
that
One way
something?
to put
Budding
it.
friendship.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
No
I
doubt.
This is
know.
fun.
Big
I
day.
like sitting over here. This is
Yeah.
enjoyable.
See the whole room. Excited
Yeah.
for Split happens
Well,
tonight.
the room that matters.
Yes.
Yeah.
I can't
Right.
see.
Right.
You know,
Right.
things going on behind me,
Robert's
which
got
now
his
he's probably
mouth
going to
full.
moon me at
He's
this
probably
point.
flipping you off.
Yep, he did. Allegedly.
He sure did.
Who's to say? We had Coach Mack on this morning. He's excited to A, attend Split Happens, and B, coach Joe Hunk on how to not lead the league in gutter balls.
Oh my.
Yeah, Hunk sucks at bowling. This is unfortunate for him, and I don't know if Slay is going to allow him to be on his team because Slay is very competitive. Slay went to Kings Bowl to practice.
I saw that.
Well, that's because he'd spent a month telling everybody that it was a Brooklyn Bowl, and so now we have to
Oh.
fight.
Whoops.
He told me.
No, I know.
False advertising.
I'm well aware, but yeah, we're fired up. I got an email this morning that said I had one ticket left to sell,
Whoa.
just the one.
Look at that.
Well done.
So, if you are somebody who wants to attend this event tonight, now it's looking like the weather's not going to be ideal to be outside. But to be inside at Kings Bowl, it's going to be chef's kiss. So, if you want to come out to Kings Bowl at Cool Springs to support a great cause, Home Street Home is the charity. I mean, you guys have probably heard Steven
Yep.
on the airwaves at some point in the last couple of months, or it's at any point listening to the Zone, because I know him and Brent have been friends for a long time. They're awesome people, and the work that they do. It's so important, especially in the summertime when the homeless community, I mean, it is just as vicious out there as it is in the wintertime, the lack of resources, if not worse. And I know they tend to have more loss of life in the summer than even in the winter. And I think that's pretty counterintuitive. So, they're doing everything that they can right now. It's all donation based. It's all volunteer based. And honestly, like this, doing this is so much fun. One, because we get to all hang out and it's for a great cause and we get to hang out with listeners and it's a cool reason to do it. But like the charity that we had the event for last year, the church at Mount Carmel, they do the free youth summer camp program. Bishop Marcus Campbell actually passed away over the 4th of July weekend. And it it really hit me in a way. I mean, obviously know his wife well, met a couple of their sons because they came out to the bowling event last year. But there's just not enough of those people doing good things out there in the community anyway. And for that to happen, right around the time that we're planning this and getting ready to have this event tonight. It's obviously it's a great time. It's for a great cause, and vibes are high. But like that made it a little more. I don't know. I don't want to say meaningful to me, but it definitely hit me a little harder.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely.
For sure.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, we're fired up, and I appreciate you guys letting me come on and plug the hell out of it.
No doubt.
And you guys have some guests there too, so it's going to be fun.
Yeah, Ben Jones going to stop by. Ben said he had to put the kids to bed first, and he's going to come by.
That's dad. Right.
Coach Mack is going to be out there, not bowling, but doing Coach Mack things, which is honestly better. Darren Bates is, I wish that I could have him on the radio show to
Always
promote
unfiltered.
it, but I can't.
No.
Yeah, no.
Great dude, though.
Yeah, I love
Yeah,
I
he's
love
awesome.
DB. That's my guy.
Intent
That's,
He's
is
awesome.
pure. Intent is pure.
intent is pure.
Yeah, okay.
The methods are in question.
I miss him in that locker room more than I miss anyone because of that dang boombox.
The music was always great.
It was.
My Spotify playlist is lacking as of late.
You
Since
can hear the audio of guys talking in the locker room now.
Yeah,
though, because he's not there.
that's true.
it's true. R.I.P. DJ who pooted. What are you gonna do?
That's so incredible.
What do you mean?
That's so good.
I'm gonna start calling you that.
Yes.
I am. Except you know who pooted when it's my case.
Anyway.
I don't really
Just
know
like
how
the
to
bad
react to
smell,
that.
I wanted to let it sit there. Just let you sit in your own.
Darren Bates was and then there goes his mic. Happened to me twice last segment.
Oh, he cut me off? Oh.
Yeah, he cut you off.
That won't end well for you.
It just sounds like we have static. We don't do that here.
You idiot.
But we got a big draft.
Okay.
Yeah, we do have a
Yeah,
draft.
we do.
Darren
Let's do
Bates, the villain of the locker room and of the podcast community. Buck Rising, the villain of 104.5 The Zone's daily lineup. I feel like you embrace that
Yeah.
Am I?
in a good way.
You kind of get
You
it.
wear the
though.
villain
Yeah.
shirt all the time.
You sure ain't the hero.
And today you got on a black magic shirt today.
Okay, that's fine. I like that. I always like the bad guys in Disney movies anyway.
Look, my
you go.
goal.
Were you beat as a kid?
See, that's what I'm saying.
Not enough is the problem. Not enough.
That's too real.
He didn't
That's
get the
too
belt
real.
like us, Mom.
All right, the
Yeah,
RKW
he's
draft.
got
Robert, can we fire up the number generator, random number generator? The rest of us are going to
jeez.
draw numbers for pick order here. So Robert has the first pick, number 1 to 100. Buck, you are our guests. Pick a number.
66.
Ramon,
26,
Kayla,
21.
21.
5.
The number is 31.
So it's me. I win.
That's right.
Ramon is first. Kayla
Okay.
is second. Buck is third.
And then I'm last.
And you're last.
I have the 5th pick.
You're not drafting?
No, he is.
I pick first, Goober. Do you not listen?
Well, no, he actually
Not to
did
you.
say Ramon is first.
Yeah, you said
He
Ramon
really
is
did.
first.
Ramon is first with the new draft order. But I'm up first, and this is a tough pick because there's so many people on the board, so many true villains. But I think if you think back to your childhood, there is one man that forced us to wear tiny elastic bands around our wrist that should be the all-time greatest villain, one Lance Armstrong.
Oh,
That's a good one.
That's a good one.
that's an interesting 1-1. I would have maybe selected that in the second or third round.
Don't you make me wear nothing around my wrist and then cut my heart out.
And then a lot of me.
That's a good one.
Live strong.
Okay, I got one. He's kind of a legend, but he's bad business when it came down to what he did into the game, man. Don King.
Shoot, you took mine.
Don King. He's in there for me.
Yeah.
Just dogged out most of his clients, or at least led them astray. And it was just like,
Dude, he's the
it was
downfall
filthy.
of boxing.
Yeah.
Only in America.
Don King's my first pick.
I went back and forth because they're both from the
Wait,
same.
you're not next.
Yes.
Yeah, he is.
Pipe
Yeah, he
down.
is.
Oh,
Or
wait.
No.
Or no.
You
Kayla's
did.
next.
You went
Yes.
21.
Yes, Kayla is next.
She came after me so
A
hard
lot of
just then.
numbers. A lot of
down.
numbers.
I
was
swear
told
to
there
it's
would be
that
no math.
seat. It's that seat.
Is it? We get real comfortable in it.
No, I think it just gets louder over there.
That might be true.
Love you, Dawn.
That might be do it.
That might be do it. I'm going to go with a guy who never gets not booed. He's the commissioner of the NFL.
Ooh,
Roger
out
Goodell.
there. Roger's out there.
Okay.
Roger, is he an all-time sports villain though?
Yeah, he can be.
I would
I would
say.
almost say Rob
would-
Manfred's more of a sports
Manfred
villain
is.
than
Yeah,
Goodell
but I think
is,
Roger
even
Goodell's
among
so
the
much more
commissions.
known.
Of the commissioners for sure, because like Stern, based on the stuff that you read
Sure.
and hear and the interviews after the fact, like that guy behind the scenes sounded like one of the baddest mother bleepers out there.
Yeah, right.
Menace.
Goodell is is a really good one, though, because like the whole reason that he's there is because he was the commissioner of Law and Order, right?
Yep.
Bountygate and all that nonsense.
Yep, it was.
Okay.
He's Tom One Step.
He's what?
He's Tom from Succession.
Oh God, here we go. He's
Tom
going to compare
Wompkins.
everything now to Succession.
Okay.
He
Anyway.
is. That's who Goodell
Now that you
is.
finished it,
I just finished it too. Why did you wait? Why did you wait so long?
Well, I'm always that way with
yeah.
sitcoms and series. I wait to everybody else.
For what I know, I am so the opposite.
King
but like
Tom.
I waited. King he is now.
He is now.
Spoiler alert.
Anyway, no, it's too late.
That's what we just had that discussion.
I don't
too.
care. Yeah, it's just I don't care.
Too late.
So I went back and forth. They're both from the same NFL franchise, or like at least I don't want to say they both started at the same NFL franchise because that's not true.
Yep.
But I think Bill Belichick at this point is definitely the bigger sports villain than Tom Brady.
Great pick.
Yes.
I think so too.
Because Tom, at least in the Tampa years, the avocado tequila, he's out there, he's having fun, he's fun guy Tom now after 20 years
I
of
agree.
repressed bad guy. Bill Belichick is probably going to go down as the greatest coach in the history of the NFL if he's not already. And I think stuff like the Spygate and Deflategate and all these other things that swirl around the Patriots, I think it legitimately bothers him. But they're going to be remembered as much for that as they are for championships, I think.
Yeah.
I agree.
I would agree. All right, so I get 2 picks in a row at the end of round 1. I'm going to go with a pick that many Tennessee fans listening to the sound of my voice will resonate with, but also SEC fans. And guys, this is my first pick because it resonates with SEC Media Days. The all-time king of SEC Media Days, the pride of Johnson City, Tennessee, and Science Hill High School, Steve Spurrier
Yep.
is my number 1 pick for villains in the SEC. Saying things like you can't spell citrus without Tennessee, and, it's really tough to play Georgia 4 weeks into the season because all their players that are suspended are going to be back from suspension by that point. The guy could win a press conference more than any coach in the history of college football. Outstanding press conference quote. Whom I hated when he was at Florida, was apathetic towards at South Carolina because it's South Carolina.
Yep.
And then now I really actually kind of like because I miss him and I miss SEC Media Days being more entertaining.
You want him on that wall.
He was so.
You need him on that wall.
He's mean. He was mean to me. The first time I met him, he was so mean to me. I was like, "Whoa, this is a JA."
A J.A. J.A. Adonde somewhere from around the horn just perked up like,
I'm sorry, that's my alarm to leave for work that I never
Oh,
make.
good job. Does it feel good to be here already?
No, it feels weird. Jackson and Lucas looked at me because I was trying to talk, and it takes me a while to get warmed up in the morning. I got a whole process at this point, and I was straight up just drowning in vocal issues.
I bet you were.
Is what we'll say.
Wait, you do vocal exercises?
No, but there's just a lot of.
That was fascinating.
9:35.
What is it, Will? Third down.
35.
Yes, I do actually, though. No, my point was I forgot my point. Steve Spurrier, good bad guy.
Yeah,
Good
great.
bad guy.
My first pick of the second round, the Bad Boys Pistons.
Oh.
Solid.
The whole
They
team.
were bad.
There's no rules of this thing. Again, abstract. The only prompt is best villains. And the Bad Boys Pistons are the villain of the history of the National Basketball Association. Give me them with my first pick of the second round.
Okay.
Who's it on now?
Buck Rising.
Buck, right back
Pick
to
2.
you.
Bucko.
We're going to have to take a break in the middle of this, but that's okay.
That's fine. So since there are no rules, which is rotating kind of game, Skip Bayless.
Yes,
he was on my board.
That's
Me too.
seriously
Great pick.
a dynamic
Great pick.
pick.
Because I was rotating through. All right, LeVar Ball had a moment,
Yep.
but I don't think there was longevity there.
100%.
turn.
There he is. Hi, bud. I think that Skip Bayless is one of the single most hated figures in all of sports history because Skip, just at the time of relevance and the platform that Skip's had for as long as Skip's had it, and the fact that he can replace Shannon Sharp with Lil Wayne on Undisputed, and that those are which is almost dated at this point, which kind of hurts me in ways that I don't want to talk about. But either way, Skip Bayless continues to be a flashpoint. He stays relevant for the worst reasons. He does. And watching DeMar Hamlin last night at the ESPYs, I was reminded of just how much I hate Skip Bayless.
Yep. And he's the king of bad takes.
Well,
My turn, right?
Yes.
My turn. So Barry Bonds.
My turn.
is that what I sound like?
Nah, you're a lot better than that.
Not better.
You don't
Barry
sit in that
Bonds
chair.
is you can't not put him on a list.
No.
Barry Bonds to this day, and we could argue for him to be in the Hall of Fame or not to be in the Hall of Fame, but consensus is Barry Bonds in sports is a villain because
I would agree.
he is probably the name that you put with any of the steroids, with any of the juicing period of time. It's always Barry Bonds. It's, Barry Bonds did this, and this is why, baseball had this. So Barry Bonds for sure had to make my list.
That's fair.
Make my list.
I like that. People have actually smoothed it over for me with Barry because his hand-eye coordination's so good, he was going to hit anyway. That was my thing. Barry is in that one.
I'm kind of surprised. I'm sorry, Big Fella, but
go ahead.
I thought I'm kind of surprised he's the first baseball one off the board.
Me too.
Yeah, there are a ton of good baseball
there are
villains.
good
Basically, a lot of bad guys in
A
baseball.
lot of old men that shake their fists at a lot of skies in baseball.
Yeah.
I got one as a fictional character, but he actually was consumed by this as an individual after he did it. But I'm going with Birdie from Above the Rim. That was Tupac's role. They say he impromptu pulled the razor blade out of his mouth, and nobody on
he
set
did.
knew he did that.
Because it's Tupac.
By far one of the coldest things ever did. And that person who he was on that movie is kind of what he turned to in real life when that wasn't actually him. Birdie from Above the Rim is definitely one of the
Look at
top
that,
villains.
sneaky.
And he actually, I think, had a dude killed, too, in the movie. So
Playing this game next level.
I know.
I mean, we're going to go there.
I thought you were going to go Suge Knight.
I ain't mentioning Suge name. Never mind. He a real figure that I would not actually mention like that. And I met Suge, too.
It's a figure. Robert Walsh.
I got back-to-backs here, and I'm going to make them super quick. First up, I can't believe this guy made it back around to me. So I'll leave the second one for after
save the second one.
You
for
should have
after
just
the
said
break.
it out loud. I'm terrible. My dad used to do that while riding lawnmowers. He'd be like, "You need to move this." I'm like, "Dude, I can't hear what you're saying." Okay,
Is your father the guy from Waterboy?
yeah, you like
The assistant
to see homeboys
coach?
naked. There ain't
That
nothing
is
wrong with
actually-
Is your
that.
dad Orgeron?
Rip those nips off, Dad. First, I'm gonna go Pete Rose. I can't believe
Yeah.
Pete Rose made it all the way back to me in the second
pick.
That's
round.
fair.
Yeah.
Pete Rose. Ain't nobody got nothing nice to say to him unless you're a Cincinnati Reds fan. You say he should be in the Hall of Fame. I don't care if he shaved points.
Yeah, those people are wrong.
And I'll give you my second pick or my third pick when we come back from break. Somebody else pitch
That's
it.
a
A
tease.
tease from Robert Walsh. Wrapping up the draft in the show next. One more segment of Ramon, Kayla, and Will before our esteemed guest takes over. Buck Rising in studio with us here on RKW. Buck, what do you have on deck for the people this morning?
What do we have going on? I honestly have no idea because I didn't pick up the phone when Lucas called me this morning. So we're do it live. Kids.
That's fantastic.
I don't want to see. I'm already having to argue with you while not looking at you, which is disorienting and honestly easier than I thought it might be. But like arguing with myself in a way where I can't see you, I don't want to play that game.
Now it's kind of like I'm a voice in your head, like, Buck, give Robert a low-interest loan.
He tell you what he did to me yesterday?
Guy from SNL, like musical guest.
Yeah.
Low-interest loan.
Just a haunted beggar is what you are.
Yeah.
No, he sent me unprompted with no context a list. Although that is, I'm sure that's happened to you before. It's happened to me before. Yeah. Too close.
From me.
Not from you. Yeah, I'm just talking about generally people's behavior on social media. But no, he sent me his Prime Day list. He sent me his Prime Day list, and he said, I will not appear on your show until such time as you buy me something off my Prime Day list. I said, I don't want you here anyway. Why are you still here? You have a full-time job on another show. Get out.
Fair.
That's very
Well, you got him Pokemon, so
All right,
you
round
opened
3.
up Pandora's box.
Oh, yeah, I'm up. I'm
Round
up
3
again.
of the draft. We gotta move.
yeah. Let's go, Burt
you
Burt.
were? Okay, my bad.
Yeah, we got to go pretty quick here. So my first pick, the king of the burner, the king of the ring chase. I'm going to go Kevin Durant.
Ooh, good selection.
Really good.
Best villains in
time?
sports.
Yeah.
For those who are just
I love
I like to
Buck's
play a little
all
recency.
time.
I got Pete Rose. I got Lance Armstrong. I'm hitting all the demographics, buddy.
Range.
Don't tell you draft your own
You
team.
got range.
That was tough.
Demographic.
I went birdie with my first one from above the rim. I got Nick Saban on this list because it's personal. It's personal.
I'm not going
I mean,
to,
it's just,
so quit
you
asking.
can't reign for
Okay.
this long. That's all that is.
I'm going with guys who like to throw chairs. So do I, but he's a villain. Bobby Knight.
Oh,
Bobby Knight,
no.
Buck was probably so.
No.
You know what?
I'm so
solid.
glad you were.
No.
solid.
Not
That's
the general.
fantastic.
No, it's not fantastic, Dr. Lucas. No, it's not.
So, Dr. Lucas.
That's good.
Damn
I like
you.
the drop. Who's up, Buck?
Well, fine. I'll go Coach Cal.
Okay. I like it.
Bobby Knight. Bobby
Yeah.
Knight is definitely a better basketball villain. Oh, I could have gone Patino there too.
Yeah,
There's
you
so
could
many
have.
I
options.
still like Patino.
Get out of here.
Yeah, if you're a recruit, you really like.
Of course, that's why he talks about Texas A&M now all the time. Okay,
No,
I
that's
get where you're going.
Petrino.
I'll
Oh,
take
Petrino,
Cal.
That's
yeah.
right.
That used car salesman.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
slick. Got to wipe your hand afterwards, right?
Nashville resident now.
With my third pick,
right.
I am going to pick the city of Philadelphia.
Oh,
Philadelphia
okay.
sports fans
There we go.
All of you.
Yeah.
Damn.
are my third pick for best villains in sports.
good.
And gosh, there's a lot of value still on the board.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
I might go kind of inside baseball here.
Do it.
Okay.
I'm not going to win this one because this is a little too inside. Pat Adams. Pat Adams is my
Adams.
last pick. The worst official in college basketball.
Oh.
I hate looking at his stupid face because it's on the TV right now of when
Oh, is that
Texas
what
A&M
reminded
plays
you of it?
Tennessee.
Yeah.
If you've
That's
watched a
great.
college
That's
basketball
funny.
game with Pat Adams, you've seen his stupid face looking at you with his big googly eyes, and he's probably given somebody a technical foul or letting you know that he is the referee of a game. It's not a good pick. I don't care. I rationally hate Pat Adams, the guy that gave Jerron Mayman his fourth foul and a technical for looking at him weird at the same time in the 2014 SEC
Let it
tournament
out,
in the Georgia
Will.
Dome.
Let it out.
Ted Valentine's rough, too. TV
Ted
Ted.
Valentine is mine.
Yeah.
That is my Pat Adams. Ted Valentine and
Yeah,
I
right.
have had a lot of bad moments
100%.
together.
So anyway,
Okay,
that's
who's
my
next?
final pick.
Buck's
That'd
back
be me. Lot of value
go,
left
Buck.
on the
up.
board.
It is.
This is going to be a controversial one.
Uh-oh.
Ray Rice.
Oh.
Not the first Ray that I thought would be selected,
No.
but a good one.
What a good one.
But as far
Same
as
team.
moments in sports history, Ray Rice is always going to be infamous as opposed to famous
Sure.
for what it is that happened in his situation and the implications of everything that happened
Yeah.
after the fact, particularly since Roger Goodell was already named.
Yup.
Okay.
Who's on you, Kayla?
I guess so. Again, I'm going to throw a woman in here. I'm going to represent the villain women's. How do you not have Tanya Harding?
I thought about that too.
Dude,
I thought about that
Tanya
too.
That's so
freaking
good.
Harding.
That's so good.
How did she skate by this late in the draft?
That's so true.
Shut his mouth.
Robert is literally
He's
on the phone
and
booing
chimed in booing Will.
I got one that's not even on my written down list, and I think it's deserved, and it's
Okay.
a lot of value on this one if you live in this state. Gino.
Yeah.
Oh, that is an outstanding pick.
Gino.
He is.
You
He
don't
is.
dog pat.
I'm sad I missed
Yeah.
that one.
Dude, just don't dog pat. So much so that Candace
Moans is
Parker's
personal.
daughter
Gosh,
will
that's
not.
good.
Gino will. Candace Parker's daughter will not ever know what a Yukon is.
Yeah.
That's how deep it is.
I agree. You don't dog pat, but that somebody like Gino does, I feel like you need that as a fan base. Like for the Lady Vols fan
Oh,
base to be
sure.
like, no, you.
Yeah.
Well, that's
For the
all
rest of time,
That's the
you.
the common thread between all of these
You need 'em.
teams and people is that we love to hate them.
They
Yep.
serve a purpose.
Like I
Absolutely.
love to hate Steve Spurrier.
Yeah, I feel that.
I love to boo Roger Goodell.
Like if I'm apathetic towards you, you're not a villain. If I hate you, then I like to hate you. Anyway,
Yeah.
Robert Walsh, final pick, Mr. Irrelevant or Miss Irrelevant.
The final pick. He is at the top of his craft, but he is probably the least entertaining. He could not read one page of a Harry Potter
Oh,
book
no.
if his life depended on it. I'm going to go with Floyd Money
Yeah,
Mayweather.
Well, I
Yep.
thought you were going to do Draymond Green as the.
He
gosh.
can read.
Yeah.
I think, but Draymond
Can
was
he?
on my
Yeah,
list.
he can.
Draymond was on my
Well,
list.
He
Floyd
actually got
Mayweather's
admitted
good.
to school. Yeah, he can read.
So let's do. All right, final
Cool.
teams. Robert has Lance Armstrong, Pete Rose, Kevin Durant, and Floyd Mayweather.
Nice.
All stars.
Ramon has Don King, Birdie from Above the Rim, Nick Saban, and Gino Auriemma.
That's solid.
Oh.
Kayla has Roger Goodell, Barry Bonds, Bob Knight, and Tanya Harding. I'm just keep thinking of like sitting at a lunch table with all these people. Buck has Bill Belichick, Skip Bayless, Coach Cal, and Ray Rice.
Nightmare
May
rotation.
be the number
Motley
one dude.
Crue.
Yeah.
Skip may be
Skip,
number one.
Skip might be there.
And then I've got Steve Spurrier, the Bad Boys Pistons, Philadelphia sports fans, and Pat Adams.
Was there anybody left on the cutting room floor that you guys wish you could have
NCAA.
scooted in?
Marshall Henderson,
Yes.
kind of a deep cut, but the old Ole Miss basketball player who started the Land Shark thing. Cowboy Joe West, recently retired and disgraced Major League Baseball umpire.
Alex Rodriguez.
Alex
A-Rod,
Rodriguez. Ed Reed and
definitely.
Ray Lewis were on my list.
Very surprised Coach K did not
Coach
get
K
selected.
was on my list.
Coach K.
I don't dislike him.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't think he's hated enough.
I dislike him a lot.
I like when he does things that are cringy that I can make fun of, but I don't dislike him.
Surprised the Houston Astros were not selected.
Ooh.
Surprised Miami LeBron was not selected.
That's so true. Just the interview at the YMCA for him should have been on the list.
decision.
With LeBron, the decision. should
I
have
was
been
pro decision. I was pro Big Three. I was pro all of
Look
it.
at that.
You're just you're
You are the
pro
villain, though.
theatrics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Buck is pro theatrics.
Entertain me. What else? Why else do we do this?
Weekdays
Entertain
from
me.
10 to 1.
I saw one that I thought was fair but unfair because they actually won the game, but in Friday Night Lights, what was it, Dallas, what was the name of the high school? Dallas Carter High School. I saw that one on the list. I was like, they're
Look at
actually
you.
a real high school, but they deserved to win because they were good. They were good. I'm choosing violence, and I actually like that
I'm
one.
with that.
I thought Dana White could probably end up on the list.
Dana.
Conor
Yeah.
McGregor.
Yeah.
Conor McGregor. See, I think he was ambiguous enough where, like, if you're Irish, like every time he fought, I would just get tore up from the floor up.
I got one, Buck,
Right.
and I'm a little upset that you didn't mention his name.
Me?
I am. I just got to bring him up. Will Compton.
Oh, gosh.
Again,
didn't-
not relevant
I'm so-
enough.
I'm surprised
What?
you didn't put him on there, especially his "I'm about to be signed" bit that he does. I just knew you were gonna lay him on the mantle, man.
He's not big enough to make this list.
That's true.
True.
That's true.
Very true.
Love you, buddy.
I'm shouting out for the undrafters. Come on, I try to help you, Will.
No.
Taylor may be on big enough to be on the list.
Taylor and officials, they're definitely.
Okay.
There were many, many jokes to be made at Beer Olympics about how much contentiousness there was between Luan and the Beer Olympics refs, but that's neither here nor there. No, the only reason that Will would be on that list is because he insists on arguing with people on Twitter by just farting into the camera, and I hate that. I hate that.
Does it get pink eye?
I think it's so
I
funny.
mean, I'm surprised he hasn't. Maybe you don't from your own situation there, because that phone's going right up to his head afterwards.
Right, exactly. You're farting on your own phone.
Yeah,
That's correct.
That's disgusting.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
That's correct.
Dang.
That's not the worst thing that goes on in football locker rooms.
Nope.
Shout out Northwestern.
The one we
Tough scene.
the one we missed was Nashville native and Hard Knocks star Aaron Rodgers, who we certainly
Oh, shoot.
don't know enough about, and now we get
Aaron Rodgers.
He gets more attention.
I thought
I'm
you was gonna
watching.
do Whistler. I figured you'd
Oh,
go that route.
did I not pick the Vandy Whistler? My least favorite person in sports.
No. The ref was your homer pick.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely.
That was.
Okay, that's fair.
That was
I'd
for you.
allow
It's because
you
I
to
had to
change
look
it.
at his stupid face on the SEC Network takeover.
Love you, Pat.
The Buck Rising Show is next. Split Happens is tonight. 1 ticket left. Go get it. Race to the phones to get it. We're back at it 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. Ramon, send us home.
No doubt about it. Please remember your Instagram, live threads, Twitter, if you can get into your account. Your microphone and your camera is always hot.
Bleep yourself.